find first gear in your giant robot car. You dig giant robots. I dig giant robots. We dig giant robots. Just dig giant robots. Nice.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Anime Boomers podcast. We are back. This will be our last episode before Offkai Expo. So you can expect lots of VTuber talk, lots of talk about the convention, what's going on, the Kirsche story, and that idiot Shizzy as well. We've got it all here. And also, the Rooster Teeth has finally shut its doors for good. We are joined today by a very special guest, but first I want to introduce my co-host for this panel. First, we've got the returning Cody from Anime Outsiders. How you doing, Cody?
Doing fucking good. How you doing?
Great, now that we got your mic issues fixed.
Yeah, for real. They'll probably come back.
We'll see. Hopefully we can keep them away for now. We've also got the guy that will be joining me at Offkai Expo, helping me with the VTuber stuff. That is going to be NECRO 13. What's up, NECRO?
That is I. I am totally sober for this. I will not be sober after this.
Based.
That's a good rule. Good rule.
And of course, last but not least, our special guest, the legal mind, if you will, legally minded, legal mindset.
I hate that depressed Nijisanji made that a thing. But what's up? Good to be here. Awesome. It's been a little bit overdue, but obviously happy to join you guys and weeb out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Your first appearance on the show. I've had a couple of appearances on your show. I do want to kind of talk about, where we were and how we got here. It was about, I think it was middle of February. It was actually MK Fenris. MK Fenris was like,
yes.
Hey, Gator, why don't you go on Legal Mindset's show? He knows a lot about Asia and Asian companies. He lives over there. You should get him, to bring you on and talk about the Salintatsky stuff and all the craziness with Nijisanji.
Yeah, and then, a couple months later, I'm known as the VTuber lawyer. That's just how that happened because nobody owned it, and there's this whole LawTube sphere, and you were aware of it, Gator, and I'm sure and Cody, I know you were aware of it as well. Being kind of instrumental in kind of creating it, actually, Cody, in a way. For better or for worse.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So, it's very, very interesting how things come full circle, though. It is really interesting. But yeah, no, nobody else wanted to touch it. Other people didn't know what the fuck VTubing was. Some people think VTubing is weird. So I said, I actually like this. And, I actually like anime. I actually watch anime regularly. I have on my my Netflix is queued up with like a shit ton of pre-downloaded stuff to watch on the flight to the US because I'll be going to the US shortly for the first time in 3 years. My reactions are going to be pretty epic to like the shit that's going on versus in Asia because I think I'm going to have like pretty severe reverse culture shock. But yeah, no, I'm always excited to talk about stuff. And the thing is, look, it's not like we're on Bizarro World where things work completely opposite, but there are some things and expectations that are different when you're looking over here in Asia and when you're looking at stuff that's going on, whether it's the way that the corporations behave or the way that people behave, right? So it's always interesting to give people that insight and say, hey, this is what might be going on here.
I know you won't say it, but I'll go ahead and say it. I think that you had a great effect upon the outcomes of all of this because, people were talking about this, but I think there was just a confluence of events that put you in the right place at the right time to be able to reach out to some of the affected parties and be able to kind of give them that inspiration, give them that, it kind of grounded them and allowed them to move forward. And now we look forward just a couple of months later and pretty much every single one of them that has left Nijisanji is now finally getting their silver play button. Every single one of them.
Yes. And on top of that, I see people saying, hey, I'm reading the contracts. Like people are actually looking at what it is. You know, I mean, to be fair, I also, and this is something clear in public, you know, I've worked with Idol in improving their contract, right? Which, you know, I've given them my comments. They've got my stuff on that. So, you know, and people have reached out to me privately with stuff that I can't even talk about, but with their contracts. So I know that I've had a positive effect on the general's conversation, and also elevated it in a way beyond just he said, she said, they don't like us, you know, Niji sisters and Hollow Bros, and kind of said, okay, let's actually look at what's going on here and like what can we practically do to make things better. And a lot of these corporations are actually doing things to make things better, to improve things, and I think that's a step in the right direction for the industry. You know, and the fact is you can point out and praise the good actors and then shun the bad actors, right? So,
Right.
you know, if HoloLive or FaZe or somebody else is doing, some other company is doing the right thing, you know, give them the credit that they deserve. Say, hey, these guys are doing a good job. Look at this. We're not just antis. We support this. We support this. This is a good move. This CEO is moving well. And this one over here is a piece of fucking dog shit, right? So there's
Who could you be referring to?
I don't know, Necro. Who?
That was, I'm not Necro. Do I?
Wait, sorry. Oh, wait,
Listen,
sorry.
you can kind of hear a little bit of the
Sorry,
melanation
Becky.
in my voice. It's different.
sorry. I was looking at avatars, bro. I was, oh god damn it.
All right, we got a
Alright.
super chat from Chaos Smash 64 for $2. Said, "Lucky that LM
up,
is a
Chaos?
weeb when he looked into this." Yes, very true.
I will say though, there are
Yeah.
still a heaping helping of people that are just convinced that LM is a grifter. I think they might be burned by the last time famous people got into from the outside, got into nerd spheres. They've been burned before.
Well, no, I'm actually pro gatekeeping, and I think that's good. I think that it actually is good to vet people out and to see how they're doing. But I mean, you know, for me at this point, I've been covering VTuber topics for, you know, what, 3 months after this, right?
Yeah.
You know, I watch a good amount of content. You know, I'm going through playing clips regularly. Like I'm engaging with, you know, creators. Like what else do I have to do to like prove my allegiance? Like, there really isn't much else I think I can do other than like when I actually show up at these events, and I'll probably be going to the events in Asia, right? You know, the Hollow Fest, the other, you know, the Thailand Comic Con, the events in Seoul and the Philippines. Like, I mean, other than doing that, which I am going to do, you know, what do I need to do to prove that I am really in?
You're trying to prove yourself to people that are basically traumatized. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the last time a lawyer got involved in an anime-adjacent incident, it ended poorly. I mean, you could say there are aspects that ended well, right? The court of public opinion was a victory.
Yeah. Oh, but, yeah. So in terms of that one, in terms of the nose,
Yeah.
you know, that situation is a little bit different because I'm going to distinguish that because, you know, out of all of this, and with the Doki Bird stuff, at no point did I try to get myself directly involved or get a lawyer I know who does my legal work involved in this.
It was purely from an advice standpoint.
Yes. It was not from I'm going to get involved in this myself, right? I'm going to touch this. And I think that's where a lot of especially in that particular scenario, that's where a lot of the problems arose. And the other thing is that I try to be very careful with my commentary. And look, sometimes I can make mistakes. Sometimes I can make overstatements or be a little bit hyperbolic. That can happen at some points. But I do try to say, look, you know, there's a chance that you can lose, even on a case where you have all of the law in your favor. Maybe you fuck up the procedure, like in the case of, like we had in the aforementioned case in the anime sphere. Or maybe
a hostile
you just
judge.
don't have hostile judge. Maybe you don't have the money because you're an individual and they're a fucking corporation and they can just throw hundreds of thousands of dollars out and not blink. And you're here bankrupting yourself to like scrape together $10,000 just to file a complaint, you know? So there's all sorts of ways which I can say, look, you may not win this, even if the law is on the right, even if justice is on your side, even if morality is on your side, you may not win. So here's your options to move in an extra legal way. So outside of the court, or even to premeditate this, right? To preempt it. Because as a lawyer who generally does a lot of corporate work and corporate legal work, a lot of what I do is to stay out of court, because we all know, all lawyers know, court is not where we want to be. It's expensive. It's not worth the time or money. Even the lawyers that go to court don't like it because they know it's bullshit. It's not a fair, efficient fight between powers. It's really a scaling battle, right? Okay, the person that's got more money, got the better lawyers, they've got a clear advantage, right? They get to choose the venue. They've got a clear advantage, and it can just suck you and bleed you dry of resources that you could use elsewhere. Even the corporation, they could use those funds that went into litigation to, I don't know, pay people better, right? Maybe pay for, Nijisanji, pay their staff more than $7.40 an hour US. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, But I do get that, and I do get why people are a little bit jaded. And frankly, there's a reason why, and I've said this before, and I make no buts about it. I'm happy to be in the, hanging out with the VTuber sphere where everyone is very positive on general, very supportive, very cool. It's just a really great community versus the law sphere where there's a little bit more negativity and a little bit more combativeness. So it is a nice time to be in the VTuber sphere.
Yeah, the law sphere, just from the outside looking in, from like these law YouTubers, always seems like they're not far off from the art community YouTubers, where everything they're talking about is just each other.
Yes.
And like this guy's wrong, and this guy's bad, and this guy should lose his job, and all this stuff. Like, it seems like they're doing the same thing as these like fat girls, like filming themselves drawing on their tablets. Like,
it literally is the same thing. I mean, it's a giant kind of circle jerk, and everyone is looking at what everyone else is doing. And, if one person is covering a trial, then, oh no, all of a sudden everybody's got to jump on it. I had people DMing me, oh, you should got to run in and cover this new trial, the Karen Reed trial. You got to jump on that. I'm like, I don't got to do shit. I cover the topics I want to cover when I want to cover them, and I'm perfectly happy about that. I'm perfectly happy doing that. And if I want to do a fucking anime stream, I'm doing an anime stream, and that's how I've been forever. I love anime, and I've been doing anime streams before anybody would do them with me. The first person to do them with me, I think, was Dragon's Treasure T, right? And you guys know Dragon's Treasure.
Yeah, I know Dragon's Treasure.
Don't.
Yeah.
But
good. Oh, go ahead, Cody.
No, I don't, but I'm so out of the loop on like every community ever. I just stopped caring about everything.
Dragon's Treasure I met through Nick, but I guess recently he's been kind of an anti there. So, but he's been always pro anime. So, he's been always coming over to talk about anime with me. We met at Anime Matsuri. He's a super jack dude, and actually a lot of his videos are like really positive. Have like the positive messages behind anime, which I really like. So, I think he's a good guy. So he's got me into. I wanted to do an anime stream, so I wanted a collaborator, so I brought him on. I've had Nina Infinity on. I've had a lot of other folks on that channel for anime streams now. But yeah, no, it's just a fun thing I've wanted to do, and it segued so neatly with VTubing, because that's, even if you look at HoloLive Cover Corporation's quarterly report, they literally say that their target audience for VTubers is those that are familiar with the global anime market.
Right.
Yeah,
that's their target. So it's not just a neat fit. That's the intended fit. That's the target. I am the target audience, right? Like, I am the audience they want to expand to. So the fact that I am liking this is not like accidental. It's by design, right? It's by design and plan of the corporations that are doing this. And frankly, it's a good marketing model. It's an effective marketing model. Hollywood could learn a fuck ton from what these companies are doing in terms of their marketing, in terms of their plans for expansion.
Like, rein in the people that work for you so they don't make the entire world hate them by the stupid shit they say on social media.
Yeah, exactly. And people say a lot of stupid shit on social media. I sometimes say stupid shit on social media. I mean, that's what social media is there for.
Yeah. I mean, Lord knows back in the day, I used to use the AO Twitter to just rile up as many people as possible. So I
Legendarily so. I remember some of those threads.
Yeah. It was
I think I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, it was time. I'm still there's like stuff that I'm still kind of proud of to this day. Like I stopped because most of it was like trolling for a purpose. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like empty shit. It was like trying to shine a spotlight on some cancer in the industry and the fandom. And I feel like the spotlight's shown. I don't need to at this point continuing to do it would just kind of look sad. You know, beating a dead horse. But
well, which one was that specifically?
Jesus Christ. Well, I think now everybody kind of know. We used to get on like the fandom for being like furry-esque gooners, and I think
Sure.
wear that now. Or like the shit the industry do. We would poke Crunchyroll all the time. God, we were horrible to Crunchyroll, and rightfully so. They're staffed by horrible people that hated their fans. Yeah.
Yeah, they do deserve it. They don't deserve your unabashed praise just because they create anime. They deserve you to worship.
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
They had
by the way, they don't create. They just facilitate.
But they had like social media people that genuinely hated everybody. Like their marketing guy Miles, I don't think he works there anymore. He was like, God, we made fun of him so much. He was the worst. And like they had one of their the guy in charge of their community outreach, I think was his title, was this chubby Asian guy that loathed white people and kept making racist comments. And at one point someone made a complaint about a line being changed, and his response was a string of uppercase ha's. So I was like, and you're the guy that's supposed to be like the PR guy, and that's your response is like, haha, get fucked Gamergate. Like, no.
Right.
So it was a lot of that. Yeah, it was a lot of that, and then there was the infamous Gator, you might remember this one, the autism thread.
Oh my God.
Well, no, it was autism. It was dating advice.
I'm going to pause it right there real quick because I want to read this before it scrolls off the screen. But Tomak for $100 said, so lately I have been shaming a few content creators into watching some OVAs. So far it has been Read or Die and Highlander Quest for Vengeance. Do you have any other OVAs in that vein I should throw at them? I was thinking of Blue Submarine number 6. Ninja Scroll is a classic. It's very violent. Oh, wait.
I just got to jump in. I'm very enthused to recommend this to people. Cyber City Weirdo 808, specifically the English dub with the European soundtrack. That is the version you have to watch. You are not ready for that show with that. First of all, gorgeous. With that fucking dub and that kick-ass soundtrack they just gave it, because the original soundtrack was just kind of like forgettable synth and J-pop. So they were like, nah, we could do better. And they did. So yes, Gator, you can resume, but I don't have self-control. I had to trumpet the horn. Cyber City Weirdo, that's OEDO 808, English dub, European soundtrack.
Yeah, I 100% concur with that. I think that is 100% necessary to watch. It's one of those rare moments back in the day where when people made changes, when they localized anime, they did so out of love and because they wanted to make it better, not, quotations better.
Right. Like they wanted to, they like, I see what you're doing with this. Why don't we do this to make it better? Why don't we enhance what you're already going for? That's what they used to do back in the day.
Right. Like Gunsmith Cats, right? Like they added the ATF line, and that's one of the most legendary, that's what everybody remembers from Gunsmith Cats.
Yeah. And that's another good example.
You're the department of ruining everybody's fun. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
But I do like, I saw you suggested Blue Submarine number 6. I actually like Blue Submarine number 6. I know some people didn't, but I do.
It's like Island of Dr. Moreau with that that Japanese anime. I guess you say. See, I don't want to say weirdness, but I can't think of a better word. Like that. It's that kind of what Gainax used to do back in the day. You know what I mean? Whereas like it's just kind of esoteric and trippy for its own sake, but not to the level of like the ending of Wolf's Reign, esoteric and trippy.
Right.
But it's just got that kind of that anime weird like. It's the kind of shit that they tried to channel with the second 2 Matrix movies.
Yes.
Like that kind of flavor, that Japanese flavor to it. It's Island of Dr. Moreau with that. If you dig that, or you dig that kind of like the Ghost in the Shell esoteric kind of feel, like the old OVA Ghost in the Shell esoteric feel. Like if you like dig the idea of taking that feel and just injecting it into the island of Dr. Moreau, you're gonna dig Blue Sub number 6.
That's a very good description, Cody.
Thank you.
I'm also a big fan of Bubblegum Crisis. I mean, the original I think is better than the remake.
Yeah, I agree.
The remake's not bad, but I would recommend the original Bubblegum Crisis. In fact, that's part of the logo. The new logo for Anime Boomers is partly inspired by the Bubblegum Crisis font. Because I love
That's
that.
how you know he's recommended.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
You're probably waiting for my recommendation. I don't have one. I am very much in my own corner. I am very moistured and unbothered, so I just watch what I watch. I think people have to kind of feel out what they're into. I like buddy cop stuff, but you know, it is what it is.
So
I think
you'd
you guys
like
pretty
Dirty
much
Pair?
got all the ones I would have hit.
But I
listen.
feel like, but Necro though, I feel like okay, there's some of that like for fun, but I feel like anime. The really good thing is there's so much that you can go off into your corner of niche that you like and be like, yeah, I'm just like buddy cop stuff, and there's enough buddy cop stuff you can just sit there and be happy, and you know it's all good. I don't think there's anybody who gives you flack for that, right?
Bro.
Oh no, not at all. But you are right. It is Dirty Pair Flash. I love Dirty Pair Flash. I like Flash. I do like the original Dirty Pair, and I have a laser disc of it. One of my friends got it for me at Anime Expo back in 2019. Haven't played it because I don't have a laser disc player, but Dirty Pair Flash, that's the jam. And then I know that's a very divisive series, but that's one I would recommend. I have fun with it.
If you like buddy cop stuff, my guy, my dude, I have to find out. There are 2 titles I have to see if you've seen, and if you haven't, this needs to be what you immediately go do when we're done this podcast. Mad Bull 34.
Yes.
Okay, good boy. Heat Guy J.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love Heat
Fuck
Guy
yeah.
J.
Fuck yeah.
Yo,
Not
that used to be
enough
on
people
MTV back in the day.
Not enough people have seen Heat Guy J, and it's like one of the best anime. Period. It's so good, and like so many people are like, oh, I've never even heard of that. Good God, like how did you live life? How did you make it to today? You haven't seen that show. It's it's like so good. I got to rewatch it. I feel like I want to rewatch it now, just thinking about how good it was. I want to inject it in my veins. The soundtrack to that show, I still got that shit on my fucking playlist. The soundtrack to that show is insane. It's so good. I'm gonna start gushing. I gotta stop. I'm getting started with this. I can't stop myself. I start gushing about something, and then that's. Are you ready for my video essay?
So we were talking about, before we got distracted and veered off course, we were talking about VTubers.
Well,
You were going to talk about your thread.
The dating thread.
Yes,
the infamous
dating.
thread.
Okay.
Yes. So many years ago, right? I'm sitting in my car on break from work, and I'm bored. I want to make something happen to entertain myself, and I know at this point the AO Twitter has enough traction and enough eyes on it that if I rustle Jimmy's will be rustled almost immediately, and thus my break will be eventful. So I go on there and I just start tweeting a thread because I know that so many people in the anime scene really struggle with their love lives. So the best thing, if you want to rile someone up, you don't just like start what we call back in the day flaming them. No. You have to pepper in something that like hits true with a little bit of dickishness. So I started giving like legitimate advice for like, how to talk to women and all that stuff. And then I threw in the middle of it, right? In the middle of it. And this, I still remember the phrasing. Autism is not an excuse. A woman that doesn't know you, a woman that doesn't know you is not going to put up with your I actually am forgetting the phrasing now. Your like social awkwardness or something like that. You will need to work on your small talk ability and your ability to pick up on social cues if you'll want to basically get a girl, right? It was like technically true, but I threw in the bluntly, brutally honest line, autism is not an excuse.
Yes.
Because I knew that's what would do it. And then I just sat and sort of let my little seed grow. And, it grew. And it grew better than I could have ever intended. Because, you got like, the special case is very angry. And that's kind of, haha, look at him. Like, the look at him kind of reaction. But then it started to snowball, like bigger than I thought it was going to. And like the people that were mad at it were, you know, they're all pretty lame. So it was not like, oh shit, I made like people I didn't want to make angry, you know, wasn't that kind of thing.
Right.
But then fucking Ian Miles Chong.
No, the Chungus.
Oh,
yeah, quote
no.
tweeted it and called it gross. He said it was gross.
Okay.
So that was funny. And then like, you know, sat there like, oh, wasn't that an adventure? Well, a year passes. A whole fucking year. Might have even been longer. Passes. And suddenly, like, it was like shortly before the AO account got banned because we started pissing off like industry people that knew guys at Twitter that had us banned.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, all these notifications start coming. I was like, I hadn't started any ruckus lately. Why am I getting all these notifications on the AO Twitter? So I open it up, and like I'm thinking, because the AO Twitter isn't just me. Like a lot of it's me, but it's not just me. So I'm thinking, well, did one of the guys tweet something that I wasn't aware of? Did they rustle some jimmy? So I look. No. Performative parents of autistic children found the dating thread. And the autism is not an excuse tweet. And these people, like, I was happy to make them mad. They're like the worst kind. The people that like, I am the parent of an autistic child. It's like in their bio. You know, they're those kind of people. Like, you know, you use your child to like cocktail parties and shit. Have I mentioned my child is autistic? Let me tell you about all the special programs that my child is a part of. Oh, it is so hard being the parent of an autistic child. Those people. And they were flooding it, man. Just the worst people that should never have children were flooding my mention. I was like, I just started retweeting them. It's just straight retweeting them. And I just like making a compilation of their bios and pointing it out. Like I think that's what I'm talking about, like trolling for a cause, like back in the day. Like it's not just pissing people off; it's pissing shitty people off.
Yeah.
Or, like shine a spotlight. Now I'm kind of done with that. You know, occasionally you piss people off, but it's just unstable people. You can't help but piss them off.
Well, you get used to it when you've already survived something like that.
Yeah.
Like the random unstable person or the random content creator or whatever, like doesn't bother you anymore because it's just one person. Once you've dealt with like a flood of people, and I think if you've been on the internet long enough, you're eventually going to deal with some group that, as a whole, doesn't like you.
Oh yeah,
that just does not
I've
like
been
you.
there.
Oh yeah, Gator knows.
Gator
I know this too well.
I feel like
triggering Gator.
I feel like they're with
just like
with trolls remorse out there, and like the phrase for the Dark Knight, which turned out to be really fucking true, of the whole die a hero or live long yourself, see yourself become villain, blah blah blah. I feel like when you do the kind of trollish thing, you poke people, you prod people, you fuck with people, you can either like crash and burn, you can get trolls remorse and become terrible, or you can just kind of fucking hang it up, like walk away when things are good. You know what I mean? I don't know how to phrase it, but like, before
go out with your boots on.
Yeah, go out at I don't want to say peak. That's wrong. I don't want to say hype. That's wrong. But like, you did your job. You fucked with these people to shine a light on these people. The light is shown. You can either continue to desperately cling for relevance. You can start simping and groveling to get people to like you after you spend all this time pissing people off, or you could just walk away. And that's kind of what I did. I just walk away. I got this comic shit I'm doing. I don't need to spend my whole time, desperate for attention on.
And that's the thing too, is that when you have something that's working, like Jim said it best, like every streamer, every content creator has an expiration date. And if you, at a certain point, like you have to realize it's like, okay, well, this topic I'm covering, we've reached the logical end of it. Or like, if you're pissing people off, it's like, okay, this is the end of the thread. I'm going to move on to something else. And I think far too many content creators see like the lull in the numbers, and they think, they think they have to do something stupid and crazy in order to like get that fix again, to get those numbers to go up, and it never ends well. I mean, we're going to talk about a guy that's doing exactly that.
That's where the drama comes in. See, that's
Right.
and that's what a lot of the people fall down, and you know, even our you know, circling back to our, you know, favorite situations gone wrong and why people might be scared of people getting into the sphere. I think you start with, hey, I want to cover the law, but the temptation is, because it's so juicy, to start really farming drama, start getting into the mudslinging, the blood sports, the other stuff. And that's your personal choice. You can choose to go down that road. And a little bit of that can, you know, tongue in cheek, you know, reaction to this, reaction to that, it can be fine. But when that becomes your principal content, you've now manifestly changed what you're doing. And that's because, like you mentioned with Jim, you know, in that statement, you know, you have to know when to move on, especially from a topic. You have to know when it's been milked. You have to know when, you know, you've beaten the dead horse, when you're just going back and at this point, you know, yelling at people on the internet that you don't know, instead of actually giving good analysis or good thoughtful breakdowns or opinions. And you've got to be able to move on to a new topic. You got to be able to say to pivot. And a lot of creators cannot do that. They literally cannot let go, and that is the death of them. I have seen that with a lot of channels where they just ride something like the bomb in Doctor Strangelove. They're just gripping onto that as it drops over Russia.
Yeah, I think Jim even wouldn't be half as revered as he is if he, like, foregoing the fact he got sick, even if he didn't get sick and just continued what he was doing like 8-9 years ago, just continuously did it. I think he would eventually broke. And I think he was smart enough to know, eventually you have to stop. And you just come back occasionally when the time is right. And then otherwise, you just go off and do your own thing. And even, like I say, before he got sick, he knew that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
That was the smart thing to do. And that's kind of what, like you're saying, like a lot of people don't realize they need to do that. And like, especially people in any kind of commentary-esque sphere.
Yes.
Because like it's one thing to be like an entertainer, right? Like a JonTron, like, or something like that. But even like you still have to adjust your content. You can't just do the same thing over and over. But like with commentary, it's that like opining on the news becomes opining on the people that opine on the news, becomes fights, becomes drama, becomes all this shit. And like there really is a point where you just have to kind of bow out or change format or something. Because you will get sucked up in that. It's not an if, it's a when. Like if you, especially if it's about opining on the blank, it will become. Doesn't matter if you want it to, it will become opining on who opines on the blank.
And this is the problem with a lot of
precisely right about that.
And this is the problem with a lot of those creators that get to that point, is that they grab onto drama and they're like, oh, you know, you can get very easy clicks with rage bait. And so they jump onto that. It's very true. But it's very short-lived. You know, the Review Tech USA is a great example. He's trying to grab onto the DSP stuff, and it backfired spectacularly. And now everybody's starting to treat him like DSP instead of, you know, him supposedly getting this boost that he thought he was going to get. And this, we're going to see that too when we start talking about Shizzy, when we start talking about, you know, one of Shizzy's friends that's trying to get attention. Like, this is the thing. Like, they're trying to go out there and do this rage bait stuff because their old content just isn't doing the numbers anymore. And they're finding it, you know, they're effing around finding out very quickly what happens when you try to pivot into drama or like political spurging and it backfires. It backfires hard.
Drama, it's like doing porn. You're going to get immediate returns, and it's going to be huge, and you're going to think you've nailed it, and then it's going to, like, everything that you built from that, it disappear immediately, and your reputation is ruined, and you can never come back from it. That's what drama does to you. It's the temptation to that immediate gain, and you're not thinking far enough ahead because those numbers and that money, number go up. And then you don't realize number only go up briefly. And then after that, you don't have much left. And you ain't going to be no Keemstar. You ain't going to be, like, you have to be, if you're going to make drama something that's going to sustain you for a period of time, it has to be divorced from yourself.
Right. You have to be as impartial as possible.
Yeah.
That's the key. You're reporting on it just like across the internet. If you're just like the archivist of the internet drama, that could actually be a thing, right? It could be like, hey, I'm just the guy who's going through the TMZ of the internet, right? I'm going through and just covering all the internet drama. That actually, I can see that works as a channel concept. It doesn't work if the drama is all about you, because people will eventually say this person is all about creating drama and their channel is only about drama without any substance at all.
And pretty soon, the only thing people are going to know you for, or even absorb, like the only.
Okay, I think we're back. I'm gonna switch over to my other device. I think we're back. Okay, let's pop back into the Discord.
But
There he
yeah,
is.
that's the part that just floors me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're back.
oh, you-
It may have. I'm gonna have to refresh the page here.
No worries. You take your time.
You do you, bro.
Yep. While I fill you in on the deep lore of
Yeah, I switched
Texans.
over
I
to
watched the
my
stream
phone.
last
I switched over to my phone connection. So it may be kind of weird and choppy, but
Are we
Okay.
live again?
we should be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read these because I have to refresh the
Okay. Yeah,
the other chat the other chat too. So I'm gonna read these before before everything gets screwed again. Get Zerged for 5 says False just dropped a video about MSM, a talent management agency, and the legal problems are crazy. Contracts unenforceable, taxes unpaid for years. I'll have to look into
Wow,
that.
I'll need to check that out. Yeah, I'll check it out. I have no idea. But yeah, like I said, I just moved from, good topic to good topic. So this is key. And the great thing about the VTuber sector is there's so much actual substance. I don't need to go into drama. There's like no temptation because the substance is there. So
Yeah.
that's why I love that area, and I love the areas that provide that, because I don't like to have to go into really deep, clearly non-legal topics, and I think that happens with a lot of other channels, legal channels.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a big reason people are very protective of the VTuber sphere too isn't so much the parasocial Oshi shit. It's because like for a long time it was like drama free and wholesome and everything, and so when drama does show up, like people get like into it, like they follow it and everything. But there is a like people kind of watch VTuber drama with like guns drawn. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
like if someone's doing wrong, we want you gone. Like that's why Nijisanji, just some people are just so brutal, and rightfully so to Nijisanji. This shouldn't they do, but like people really brutal to Nijisanji and really brutal to a lot of these like VTubers that and VTubers that start shit, like indie VTubers start shit. They just see their numbers drop because people just like don't want that here. Like VTubing made so many people happy during the lockdown shit.
Sure.
And just improved so many moods that it's like, don't take that away. You know what I mean? People are like, don't take that shit away.
Exactly.
Don't
that's-
take it.
I made a statement as such on the wonderful Bird app, if you can call it that still. But like just from even just the topics that we have today, there's a reason that people only watch corporate VTubers rather than watching the indies, because then you're stepping into landmines placed everywhere. Which VTuber is going to be outed, like the Mofongo boys, to be nothing but doxers and harassers and just to their own friends, in air quotes.
Yeah.
Or you can find someone that's going to be like this Shizzy guy who is allegedly associated with Smash players that went to Mexico and had a fucky wucky. Like there's all these things that you have to look out for. Whereas on the corporate side, it's not that it's impossible to happen, it's that it's a very slim to none chance that it'll happen.
Yeah.
Which is why people like their very sterilized corporate HoloLive, which is still good, they like their face connect. It gets risque, but it's not to the point of whoa. Hang
But
on,
Sakana is going to keep FaZe within a certain boundary where it's like, okay, they're going to be edgy a little bit, but they're not going to get canceled. So,
Absolutely.
like, and they're certainly not going to get. And what he's done a really good job is they're not going to get blown out in the commercial sphere. So they're not going to lose like any sponsorships or anything that deals with the commercial side, which I think is very smart. You know, you want to play it up to the edge, but know there's an edge and not go over it. I see the wisdom in that.
Yeah, and again, the whole thing is we have people that only want to focus on those corpos, and that's perfectly valid, because if it were up to me, I'd probably be doing the same thing. I like my indies, but I also, at this point now, I have to start going through and vetting them. There has to be a process in place, because I don't know who's going to stand for what, and that'll be later on, I'm sure. But like, if I didn't know any better and I were just random person, I said, hey, that Shizzy guy has a very unique avatar, and I, myself, an Afro-American, love black creators. And then I saw that, and then I saw the entire rant that he went on. I'd have egg on my face all fucking day, because there were people like Evanito that were retweeting that with zero insight. And they had to delete those tweets because, like, oh, I didn't know that there was a face stocks in it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're right. Like, you really do have to vet indies, especially like people hate politics and VTubing. They fucking hate it.
Which is understandable, which is very understandable. Especially in the modern culture, I am very empathetic with people that say, hey, I don't want any politics in VTubing. It's like, you know what? I get it. And I understand why. Because there's politics in everything. And frankly, I'm okay with that if it's a unilateral rule that applies equally to both sides of the sphere. Unfortunately, as we know, that isn't always the case.
Well,
right?
that's like what I'm going at is like,
sorry,
that's one of the things that a lot of indies will do to piss people off, because like, it's one thing I've talked about, like Kirsche from the beginning had commentary as part of her routine. So it's like, oh, when Kirsche talks about like bridge or something, like that fits. But when you're like, I'm gonna be cute girl doing cute things, haha, funny, and then you go on Twitter and make like a virtue signal or some kind of declarative public political statement, or like, I'm donating to this cause or whatever, people get pissed. Like, you saw that early Vshojo. Fruit will never live down the money thing. You know, where's the money fruit? Will never go away. It will never go away. Every time you bring her up, the chat will just, where's the money fruit? Where's the money fruit? Like, because it feels like people get tricked. Like, we get enough of that with everything else. Like, oh, I can't watch a movie without the actors doing some shit. I can't watch this or play this game without the developers doing some shit.
With a bunch of slacktivism.
Yeah, but VTubing was like a sacred place free of that. And then like the Vshojo girls and a lot of the Twitch, because good God, Twitch VTubers, don't get me started. It's like Twitch is trying to kill VTubing, I swear to God. It's like a sea of Amy Schumers. But like,
no,
it's true. Like, there's not a lot of difference. I'm convinced. I am convinced Amy Schumer would have a much better reputation than she does now if she had just said the same jokes behind an anime avatar streaming on Twitch. Because they do this.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Same exact shit. And like, people, but like, hey, I watched this to see the cute girl do the funny thing, and you're making like declarative political statements about Trump or trans people, whatever the fuck. Like, no, shut up, fuck off. I get enough of that. This was supposed to be my oasis. Do not dry up my oasis, you bitch. And then Vshojo's reputation just plummeted. It was like, oh, they're a bunch of whores and they're annoying. And really, it didn't start going up until XIII came, and it became like the home for lost VTubers.
Right. And also, they have a better structure. I mean, to me, looking at it coming in late with Vshojo, like their structure of, hey, we're just here as your kind of branding and sponsorship, and you kind of are doing your own thing. We're not controlling you on the Nijisanji level. I think that's a big W in terms of a position in the market. Obviously, HoloLive has really tight control over its talent as well, but it does it in a way that they're not as visibly domineering as Nijisanji, right? So that I think there's a really good space, a market space for each of those types of companies. Unfortunately,
yeah, I'd say like, if you want to look at what Vshojo's old rep, it's still kind of there, but like the new talents are sort of more and more kind of brushing that old rep aside. I think that old rep will be pretty much gone the moment that like the old guard from Vshojo is completely left. But if you want to
I
see,
believe so.
yeah, if you want to see what their rep used to be, Depressed Nosagi did a video, The Absolute State of Vshojo, which is outdated now because it has a different rep. But if you want to see what their old rep was, it's a great time capsule for that. Because that is like, people just hated Vshojo for a while. That was like, that they got the same treatment Nijisanji gets now. Back in the day.
I remember when like Iron Mouse was really the only thing they had going for them, and then outside of her, like everyone else was engaged in like some kind of massive drama, and you know people and then people didn't like them because they were kind of like the e-girl streamers, and that was the reputation of the company. It was like, oh, these are like Twitch e-girls that are trying to be VTubers. That's what everybody saw Vshojo as.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Mouse was really the only one. Yeah. And Iron Mouse was trying to like be the only one that was doing something different, where she was doing like her singing streams and all the stuff she was doing.
Yeah, and she did a lot of like, you know, dirty jokes, but it didn't feel quite as like Amy Schumer-ish. You know, the Amy Schumer e-girl kind of thing.
Well, yeah, you can look now at Vshojo because someone said it in my chat. Like Iron Mouse is the mascot of Vshojo. I think Matara is becoming that now too.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And again, like you said, they're cleaning up their image for the most part. Like, you know, for lack of a better way of putting it, it's just,
I would say like they have three pillars now. The pillars are Keisun, Matara, and then Iron Mouse, who's the original pillar. If they have one more pillar, I think they'll completely like walk away from their old reputation entirely.
Yeah,
I feel like
all of those are all unique.
Hinya could be that for it.
I feel like they really can't, as long as Fruit's still there, I feel like even Melody, there's a lot of people that like Melody, but she's still got that e-girl stank, you know what I mean? You can't shake the fact she does do porn. She does do porn. There's a lot of people that they can't get past that.
But that is a market. That is a certain market.
But it is like it brings with it an image.
Sure,
and you have that, you have Fruit, and even Zen has some, and especially anybody really involved in the Nux thing too. Like
I don't even know about the Nux thing. That's lore I don't even know about.
That's like a whole thing that would derail the whole podcast.
Yeah. Just putting out here, like I'm still like, despite coming into this, I'm still learning this stuff, you know, because there's so much to the VTuber sphere. Like it's got a lot of depth, which I find to me fascinating and intriguing.
Yeah, the Nux Taku drama was Vshojo's Selen moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that was like Vshojo already had a bad rep. That sealed it. And it took like people, a lot of their old guard leaving, like Nyanners and them leaving, and it took that with Keisun and then bringing in the sort of, you know, the home for lost VTubers thing, like that all kind of like was necessary to save them from the Nux drama.
Well, yeah, the Nux drama, I know I covered it in a video, but the TLDR is everybody in that situation looked really bad, and they had to do something really quick to clean up their image. Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was their Selen moment. And Vshojo, I think it's going to take a while for them to really recover, like 100% recover, but they're better. They're like post Frieza saga Vegeta. He's not entirely a good guy yet, but he's clearly sticking around. He's not going anywhere, and he's clearly gonna, you know, fight against the bad guys, but he's not entirely on the good guy team yet.
Got it.
That's kind of where Vshojo's at right now. You know, like Vegeta right before he fucked Bulma. That's kind of where they're at.
I will say this though, you're talking about Zen. I have to give Zen some credit though, because Zen has been really good to a lot of the people that have left Nijisanji and has collaborated with a lot of them. So, you know, I have to give some props where they're due, because, you know, a lot of the ex Niji livers were terrified to leave the company.
Feel like, see, I have a personal issue with feeling like I'm being lied to. I get deeply fucking loathe when I feel like I'm being lied to. Like I hate, like, just like TV commercials piss me off because they're so disingenuous. You're so fake. I hate it. So like knowing that we all know you're a guy. We know who you are. And you keep making these attempts to hide it. because you have to do the thirst trap thing, but like we have evidence. There's all these evidence. You've left a paper trail, my guy. Like we know. Just own it. Be like
just be like me. I literally have an anime girl avatar, and I just sit here with the deepest voice ever.
Because he's done streams, like non-character streams, but he'd had like his girlfriend on at the time to claim she was Zen. Like, don't do that. Just say like, yeah, I'm this guy and I play this character, because that's what VTubing is. I use the text-to-speech to give her a voice. I play this character. Like, yeah, it might be weird to thirst trap when you know a guy's doing it. But you don't have to thirst trap. You could thirst trap just with the design looking hot and then just play the character. I mean, that's what Tonkatsu Sinclair basically is. Absolute Unit, if you're familiar with him, her. Hilarious. It's the guy that does plays like the goth girl with the doctor girlfriend voice, like really deep.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what he does. Like, just and still people will draw lewds of the Tonkatsu Sinclair character. Like, just be like, yeah, I'm a different character. I'm playing a character on stream, but I'm this dude. Don't lie to me. Don't give me this whole LARP and bring on your girlfriend to fake it for you and do this whole fucking thing. Like, no, I'm just so you can thirst trap. Don't lie to me. Once you lie to me, I fucking hate you. And I think that's why I can't like give Zen any kind of benefit of the doubt. I was just hung up on this because this fucker is lying to me. He's constantly lying, and I hate it. It's like all my
that's pretty common, Cody. I think most people, and sorry, my internet died for a second, but
I know the feeling.
Most people, yeah, maybe it's a little targeted there. Although I'm a little bit more difficult in other foreign country. But anyways, that said, I feel like in many cases, I don't have a problem with whatever people want to do, whatever their grift is, whether that's, rage baiting or, e-thought behavior, whatever. But when they're lying about stuff, that's when the problems come up. That's when most people, have real contention with the creator, when they're out and out lying or being blatantly hypocritical. I think that's when the real shit hits the fan, typically, when they're hiding something, when there's something that is not being disclosed, that's just a clear lie. I think that's when the problems start.
Yeah, so if he just came out and was like, yeah, I'm a guy and I play this character Zen, I use the voice change, I use the text to speech so I can do the
who
voice.
Cares? And there'll still be people simping.
Yeah, it'd be fine. You don't have to lie, my guy. You don't have to bullshit me, and I'll respect you and like you more when you don't lie to me.
Yeah, that's why people always ask for lewds of me. They always ask for lewds of Claire. And I'm like, bro, I don't have that kind of time and money. You got to ask the people. They'll do it for you.
Yeah, people won't care. You don't need to do that to do your grift. You're playing a character. Play the character. Whatever. Look, there's going to be weirdos that are going to overlook, the fact that it's a dude doing this stuff. There's going to be people pointing it out to you like, it's a guy, right? It's a guy, shaking his hips and writhing around like a woman. Like, yeah, but I mean, I'm paying attention to the avatar. Whatever fuck excuse you give. It'll still, like, you don't have to lie. That's what I'm saying. Zen, you don't have to lie. Just do like a second channel stream and just say, yeah, it's me.
And you know what? It's perfect because this is a great segue into the first question mark topic.
It's very hard to keep this show on track.
It is. And that's the charm of it, is that, we get these set topics and then it's like, we're going to talk about something completely different.
It's a crapshoot.
It's all connected. It's a circle. Time is a flat circle.
A circle of shit.
I'm going to go read the super chats that I have to catch back up on because my internet died for a second there. Let's see. I read the one about false. Chaos Mesh 64 for $2 says, does Johnny Somali count? I think he's talking about people trying to change their content and getting into drama. The IP2 is a disaster, and only the worst of the worst get involved with that after their careers die. And you see what happens to those people.
Yeah.
It always ends in a jail cell.
Yes, because they keep having to do more extreme stuff, and eventually that extreme stuff is going to get you in jail or get you killed.
Yeah, holy shit. IP2 is just that is just life's trash can. That whole service is just, good God. No one is watching that. And no one watches IP2 out of any genuine connection to its talents. It's all, look at this asshole, watch him die. Like, that's it.
That's pretty
IP2.
much it.
It's
Waiting for only use me Blade's leg to rot off live on stream. Like, that's what it is.
yeah.
It's like blood sports, but like 10,000 times worse.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Like, I can't think of an area of the internet outside of, like, shit that's illegal that's worse and scummier and grimier than IP2.
Well, a lot of times what IP2 does is illegal. they live stream their crimes on like DLive and other sites.
I'm talking about like dark web, like repositories.
For shit IP2 is like
suppressing
one
dimension.
step above that.
Yeah. It's like IP2. That's the only thing below IP2 is like shit you get in trouble with just pulling up on your screen. Like, that's how just low IP2 is. Yeah, that's pretty much your life if you get into like the drama, not just drama, but like the spectacle of making yourself a spectacle.
Right.
Like, just for views and to make number go up and just the shit, like anything for views type mentality.
But they're addicted to it, and they cannot get off that crack rock. And that's the problem when you really are there. And also, you make a name for yourself. And like, if your name for yourself is, I'm going to be an absolute ass, right? Then, that's what you're stuck with. You can't go back to making serious content. You're done. You're in the exile zone.
Yep. And that is a fantastic segue into our first topic.
Right.
Nice.
So I do want to read these other super chats,
that's right.
but we're
There's
going to
more
segue.
super chats, I forgot. I forgot.
Douglas Diaz for 2 didn't say anything, but thank you for that. Chaos Mesh 64 for 2 says, let's not forget Henya. Yep, I included her in the pillars of Vshojo. And Sparky's Tech Corner for 5 says, Gator, your black cat wants on. He is scratching at the door. I love you, Ranbot, but this is not a call-in show. If we brought you on, I have a hard time limit of an out for tonight because I have to work tomorrow. And if we brought you on, it would continue for like 6 hours. I can't do that tonight, but I will have you on in the future at some point. Okay, let's segue now.
Because we have another fella that decided to chase number go up at the expense of his own rep. Well, I don't even know if he thought it would be expensive of his own rep. I don't think he thought that far. I think he was just like, ooh, clout. And oh my, how did it ever backfire?
Yes, Shizzy. So for those that I'm sure everybody in chat is aware of this by now, but there was this guy. He was part of the circle of Smash Brothers in the fighting game community, all that stuff, and he decided to make a video targeting a bunch of different VTubers from Nijisanji, from HoloLive, some indies, and the focus was it was full race baiting. He clipped them either like saying the N-word or saying a Japanese word that sounded like it, and essentially tried to make this video the crux of him trying to do his debut as a VTuber.
Yeah,
and to be clear, they were saying it either in response to like
another character
lyrics
like
they didn't know in a song, or GTA, or like whatever. It was like they were people who genuinely were not saying that with malice, or were saying a Japanese word, which is absolutely not what he thought it was. They was just clipped in a way that makes it sound like that, right? So it was very disingenuous in its presentation.
And he begins it with a face dox of Amelia Watson, which I'm actually not as offended by that as a lot of people, because it was when she was a face streamer. So it's like, it's one thing to face dox someone like through private information, but he just used a clip of her before she was Amelia Watson, when she was just like a small time regular Twitch streamer.
Right, but I think it's the fact that he linked it. It's the fact that he linked it when very few people actually knew her backstory. I mean, yeah, people knew, but the fact that he used his platform to push her information out there and did so in a way that was done to try to hurt her and get her fired at HoloLive, I think that's what pissed me off. It wasn't just the fact that he did it. It's what he was trying to do with it.
Yeah, that's the fuck part. Because, like, just showing her face, I think there's people that just like, how dare you to that? And again, it's a little different because, for the fact, she was a content creator at the time. But then trying they tried to pull. It's the same shit people tried to pull on Callie with Demon Dice, and I think he even did the same thing too, with like Demon Dice's old songs.
Yeah, he included as many instances of it as he could to try to drive this point that VTuber community is racist, which is stupid. Because the whole point of VTubing is you take like your personal identity out of the character, and so you can be whatever you want to be. You could be a dragon. You could be a car from the movie Cars if you wanted to be.
Yeah, right.
You could literally
So
VTube as an attack helicopter.
And it's like, if the community's so racist, why are you trying to get into it? Why are you trying to be a part of it?
Right.
Get rid of your fucking stupid avatar.
That to me was one of the things I was like, wait, what? This guy is a VTuber because he has a fucking VTuber avatar and he's attacking VTubers. Does he not understand the irony there that he is himself a VTuber? So if you're saying all VTubing is like this, well then what the fuck are you? Right?
Like, why are you trying to be a part of it? Like, if it's so bad, wouldn't you want to like, oh, I'm throwing away my avatar. I don't want to be part of this racist community.
The real reason is because these people are very, very used to coming in and bitching, and in other areas, this has worked for them where they are given power because they come in and they bitch and they're all like, oh, we're so sorry. And they're given power just because they come in and bitch. And everywhere, by the way, everywhere that has happened, it's completely ruined the situation. And that didn't happen here. He got rejected, right? Which is good.
He got gatekept in real time.
And props to the VTuber community for gatekeeping the way a lot of other communities should be gatekeeping.
Yeah, there were some that simped for him, but I mean, I think by and large, the majority, I could say, and Gator, I think this is fair, were strongly opposed to it. There were some that came out there, and I think were initially a little bit supportive, just because I think it probably matched up with their political beliefs. But I think those people melted away pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Very quickly. And it pretty much only ended up being people that already had associations with him that immediately, like these weirdos on Twitch that have their own like little community, like they came out of the woodwork to try to defend him. But everybody outside of that immediate circle immediately like distanced themselves from him.
Oh yeah,
right.
And it's funny, like I actually had heard of this guy previously, and I didn't know it at first. But like I saw his old avatar because somebody I used to be friends with. Watched this guy back when he was mainly doing Smash shit, and like I saw his old avatar with just the pink hair. I was like, oh my god, it's that guy. And I remember this guy I knew like really liked this dude, and it's funny. He's like, oh well, oops. That guy sure went places. Like, good god, what happened to his avatar? Good god, like he's doing this shit now for clout and views. Like, can't imagine like. Maybe he felt he had to find a new place to hang, a new community to be a part of when he had to run from the Smash community for reasons we'll get into. And I guess he felt like he could get a shortcut to clout because he built a lot of clout over there. And I guess he felt he could have a little clout shortcut if he played the race card and came in like scolding everybody. But no one's impressed.
It's very good that did not work, because the second that does work, everybody goes to exploit it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Your community's ruined pretty much.
Well, you guys remember, because me and Gator talked about this last night, but it was Pokimane. You remember how quickly she got shut down the second that she tried to roll in? Now she's
it's
being left in the dust.
And it's growing. It's not.
Sorry, chat. My internet hiccuped. My internet hiccuped again. I'm on my phone now. So there was a brief hiccup.
This is recording properly.
It is. It is being recorded.
The VOD will be normal. But yeah, it's it really is just people want to they want to get into a new business, but they want to have they want to transplant all the influence, clout, and accomplishment that they had in their old field, rather than starting over.
Correct.
And that's what this guy thought. That's how that would work. Is that I'll come in and make a big racial stink, and everybody will have to do what I say.
To me,
yeah, and give me that sweet and juicy clout. And no, quite the opposite happened, because the worst thing you can do if you have a checkered past is to piss people off in a very public manner. Because if you, especially making accusations, because if you make accusations against people, the immediate thing someone's going to do is, yeah, who are you to talk? And if you have an answer for them, oh dear. Oh fucking dear.
And that's what really weirds me out about the Shizzy thing is that the video came out of left field, swinging at everybody because again, VTubing isn't necessarily a community, it's an industry. There are communities within this industry. I will 100% agree. But he went because again, his whole mindset is VTubing has a racism problem. Points out VTubers not in the way that he thought it was going to work, saying suggestive things, which, sure, whatever. We need to stop giving words power like that because it doesn't really matter. People are going to call you a whole bunch of slurs in a Call of Duty lobby. Maybe not anymore. AI is going to stop all that soon, so I guess that's not really a thing. But this guy shows up and starts swinging on everybody, calling them racist, and then calling the lolly people pedos. Which again, my statement has always been the same when it comes to anything that's lolly stuff. It's not real. And anybody that thinks that it is real has a DSP problem. He has a DSP's chat problem because his chat's full of actual pedos, and 2 of them for sure. But this guy's making these very public statements, and then when people dig up his past, because again, like you said, if you have a checkered past, you come in trying to generalize people in such a way, they're gonna look into you. There's people who are going to look into me and they'll be like, oh, this NECRO guy used to talk shit about anti-tubers all day long. And he says the N-word. And I'll be like, yeah, I say it at least 3 times before.
I was about to say, and he still talks shit about anti-tubers and he's still saying it.
Yeah, when I get to California, I'm going to say it like 20 times, probably on the way from the airport to the convention center. It's going to happen. But and I'm not going out of my way and saying, you know what, guys? I think VTubing has a really racist problem, and everyone needs to stop using slurs. I think slurs are great. I think they should use them more. I said that before this stream, but I'm going to say it again. But that's what weirds me out about Shizzy is this. And then we get to the ex-girlfriend, which is the picture that you have up here.
Which is glorious.
Yeah, which is just an entire document of everything that they've done as far as commissioning their model, not paying their artist, and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other gaslighting stuff that's in it.
Well, before we get that, I think we should get to the stuff that's a little less concrete and just kind of get it out there as this is what people are saying for those who may have heard about it, that he was friends with, okay, you got another thing.
I got it up here.
He's friends with a lot of old Smash guys that were pretty much all outed for some kind of sexual impropriety with minors, to the point where, and this is hearsay, I don't know how true this part is, he is the only one in that circle that wasn't outed, which has made people suspicious. You're the one, you're the single one. But that I don't know.
That would make me pretty suspicious. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that I don't know because the Smash scene is such a clusterfuck. It's hard to tell who runs with who and how much. And they are also so backstabby. You could be friends one minute and the Smash scene is horrendous. Why would you play that game? Forgoing the fact that as a fighting game, it's a mess. Fun, but it's a mess. Why would you play it for money? Especially when everyone that does play it for money is some kind of sociopath, some kind of groomer, pedophile. Just something's wrong. All the people I know that were decent people that played Smash quit that shit.
Wow.
I knew I was friends with. I'm still friends with him. I just don't hear from him as much. I'm buddies with a guy that was one of the best Smash players, and he just fucking quit. He went and quit and got a real job. He said he's been happier than he ever was playing Smash. If you're decent, you don't play Smash, or if you're playing Smash, you're decent. Eventually, you stop because that scene is it's bad. The Smash scene is bad. And Technicals just has made a career out of just exposing people.
Yeah, just calling all of these disgusting people out for what they're doing.
Yeah. So the fact this guy was in that scene and was friends with a lot of people that got outed. There's the whole reason that he doesn't like it when you bring up Mexico, because he had a buddy that was making trips to Mexico ostensibly to play Smash and participate in tournaments, and just so happened to also be seeing
not good.
an underage girl in Mexico. And supposedly this dude, Shizzy, Visak, whatever, was taking those trips with him, ostensibly to participate in these Smash events. So the question is like, hey, were you going to Mexico to get some underage tang, you know? And he really doesn't like it when you bring up Mexico. So that's why, for those of you may have seen... Oh, yeah, he'll block you on site. Yeah. So if anyone watching this is like seen people just mention Mexico around him, wonder, what's the Mexico thing about? That's what the Mexico thing's about.
Okay.
So now it's just...
background.
Yeah, you could just like rattle him with mention of the country of Mexico. Like there was one person that just posted a video of the message of like he's blocked you to a shy guy in a sombrero playing a Mexican song. Like that guy just associating him with Mexico in general has just become a thing. So if you're wondering where that's come from, we don't know if he did anything. I don't know if he did anything. All I can say, and this is not an accusation, this is just speaking to his optics, are bad, because reacting this way to the mere mention of Mexico is only going to make people think you did something.
Right.
Like that kind of strong, immediate, harsh reaction to little to nothing is just make people think you're suspicious. It's like the kind of thing where, you know, I didn't believe the conspiracy theory until the government made it illegal to mention it. Now I believe it.
Now I believe it.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Like, I didn't think you did that until you tried to censor me from talking about it. Now I think you did it. And that's kind of where the Mexico thing is going with him.
Yep, allegedly, by the way.
Allegedly.
It's
Absolutely
all allegedly.
He's not helping, is what I'm saying. He's not helping in the least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we've covered a lot on Legal Mindset show. He's covered a lot of the statements and things in this. So I'm not going to rehash it too terribly much. But, you know, he made an allegation against somebody, said they had an STD. Very, very comparable to
which is, by the way, I said it on my channel, I'll say it again. That is defamatory. You do not ever want to make any allegation that anybody has a sexually transmitted disease, because that is defamatory. Like, please do not do it.
And you cannot accuse somebody of committing a crime they did not commit. That is also per se defamation.
Emphasizing, I did not accuse him of anything earlier. I'm talking about his optics.
Yeah. Just to be very clear. Yes,
yeah,
and
you
once
are
again,
not
talk about
helping.
the story. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so his ex came on Twitter and blew up his spot. And all of a sudden, after that happened, then he's like going out there and trying to apologize. He's trying to edit this video to remove this and that. But the content of the video is still there. His overall point, He didn't change the point at all. It's just, it backfired so spectacularly on him that he tried to do some CYA and you know, he half-assed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's just too much circulating around this guy. This right here is why you grow up always hearing about don't throw stones if you live in glass houses. It's not even just about a hypocritical thing. Like, yeah, that's a factor, but it also goes deeper than that. If your ass is living in a glass motherfucking house, it's not about throwing them stones because, you might break it. No, people will break the fuck out of your windows, and everything in your house is going to see the light of day. And we're seeing everything now that this guy's ever done. Like, we have fucking Discord screenshots, which, you know, can be doctored, to be fair, of him just, like, outright admitting that he ain't gonna pay for these assets. Like, this, it's funny how common it is that the people that, like, will virtue signal and make some kind of moral grandstand tend to be awful people. Like, it's really funny how often that happens. And it's like clockwork. Here we are again.
And it's not just...
Point,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Ellen.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, and at this point, he's got so many things he said. He can have people that, once again, sue him. He's even got potential criminal stuff against him because of everything he's put in the record. And it's a matter of a cell phone. He didn't have to do any of this, but he decided to chase clout, and therefore he's put himself in this position. It's not a position that anybody put him in except for himself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why there's so much catharsis to it too. Why it just feels like okay to shit on this guy, more so than it feels okay to shit on a lot of other stupid people. Almost feels like it's my civic duty to shit on this guy. Like I'm doing the work of karma. Like karma itself, which leads me into I teased this before we started recording when I first joined the call with Gator and NECRO. See, I have a bit of a spiritual belief, right? I am a firm believer in karma as an actual, almost like a metaphysical thing. Like, it is a force in the universe, and I have seen enough things to just lead me to believe this. And this feels like one of them. And what I mean by a medical physical force, right? There's the whole, you do bad shit, bad things happen. Not just coincidental bad things, but you ever notice how terrible people age so poorly? Yes. Like, if you compare, like, George Soros to Betty White, right? Like, if you're just a bad person, it just shows. It's like Fable. Like, when you get negative karma in Fable and you start growing devil horns and shit. Like real life kind of works like that. And then like, you see, like, people that go into politics become corrupt and what they look like after they get out of politics, and they look like fucking ghouls.
They become Senator Palpatine.
Yeah. And then but then there's another aspect to it, too, right? And this is why I think it's, like, metaphysical. Because if you build up good karma, right, it almost becomes like a cosmic thickness around you, right? So if someone comes at you, your good karma will create like a cosmic rubber band effect that causes bad things to happen, misfortune to befall the person that did bad things to you. We've seen this many times before. Most notably, JonTron. How are all the people that tried to cancel JonTron doing right now? Like, look,
every single one of them. Pro Jared.
Yeah.
What was the other guy?
Destiny.
Destiny.
How's Destiny doing?
Oh, Destiny, bro. Oh man, talk about else.
You look at like the group that JonTron was a part of. Normal Boots kicked him out. How's Normal Boots doing? Like, if
every single one of them pretty much has had an issue.
Yeah, Normal Boots is pretty much irrelevant and dead now. The only thing anyone remembers Normal Boots as is the thing that appeared at the beginning of old JonTron episodes.
Yeah.
Like if you step to someone with enough positive karma, it's gonna snap back hard. Bad shit will happen to you. And we're seeing it happen again. A lot of these VTubers, especially HoloLive, genuinely good people. And it's a big thing that attracted people to VTubing in the first place. It just feels like, oh, look, an entertainment sphere where it feels like the entertainers just want to entertain me. I don't have to worry about them being like shitty people behind the scenes that are going to like Minecraft YouTubers grooming kids left and right. Like, oh, the HoloLive girls seem like genuinely kind people that deserve their success. And you see that a lot in like a lot of other VTuber companies. Like, maybe there's a little drama going on in the scenes, but like, like Pippa's a decent person. You know that a lot of like these other girls are good people. And this guy came and stepped to a lot of good people. What happened? He's done. He's fucking done. He'll never come back from this.
Yeah, before he even got started. And I think you're spot on too, because like I told Gator, when I went to Offkai last year, and I think that was probably like my weird awakening moment, because I was kind of very skeptical about going to a VTuber only convention because I didn't know what was going to be in it. Never heard anything about it. I was just going there for the first time, and I got to meet new VTubers, the ones that I was already watching, and I got to talk to them. So they got to put a face to the name. And when I was there throughout the entire weekend, you get to notice how many VTubers, like from everyone that I saw, they love doing what they do on the internet. They love making content. They are wanting to entertain, and they want to make what they do as positive as possible. They are nowhere like I am, because let's be real, I'm a shithead. But they 100% want to do things that make people happy, and they want to make sure that they want to do it for as long as they are alive, it feels like. Especially if you look at like the HoloLives and the Phase Connects and all of the like I was just thinking about it the other day. How many years are we on HoloLive talents right now for just the EN side? It feels like they're never going to go away. But at some point it might come to an end, but maybe it won't. Maybe we're going to see these VTubers be here for the next 10 years. We don't even know. We're just at the very start of this brand new industry, and it's still in its infant state.
I think
I love it.
I think what attracts a lot of decent people to VTubing too is the avatar tells the ego to shut up. Because the fact that you're behind an avatar and playing a character means it like gets in the way. Like people with ego want to be the famous person. They want to be the one on camera. They want their name associated with. But like it's like Gargura is the famous one, not the girl behind Gargura.
Right.
You know, like it's your character is famous, not you. So then if you're in this, it has to be about the content because the character is the content. You're building this character via your content. So it has to be about the character and not you. And I think that's why so many of the VTubing sphere are not obvious. Like I said, I've talked about Twitch VTubers. I think a lot of them are coattail riders. I think a lot of them are almost feel like they're trying to ruin the industry. But on the whole, as a larger general thing, I think VTubing attracts a better sort because of that barrier. It's like the anti-ego barrier that is the avatar plus kayfabe. That you're not the famous one. Your character's the famous one. And so if you want to be in this, you need to care about the character, not yourself. You need to care about the content.
Just real quick, Cody, what is the issue with Twitch that, and I think I know, but I want to hear you say it. What is the issue that makes it so different than the other platform? Than YouTuber?
This is a bit of a mini rant. I'm going to try not to go too long, but I got thoughts. I mean, the issue with Twitch and the VTubers on Twitch it's the Amy Schumer thing I talked about before. A lot of them are just kind of Twitch thoughts. A lot of them are kind of appealing to, like, so many Twitch VTubers are just Coomer baiters, or they don't care about kayfabe, or they don't care about the character. It's just an avatar to be an e-girl. Like they're again, there's a lot of small VTubers that are just using Twitch to start out, right? But I'm talking about that Twitch scene. You know what? If you want to see what I'm talking about,
you can see them when you first go on there. You'll be able to notice within the first minute.
If you look at the models, compare the models. How many? Like you think of like creative or stylish VTuber models. There's models that are like sexual, right? But there's something different with like Twitch VTuber models where it just feels like Coomer bait with his designs, and the tits bounce constantly, and they'll like move their head as much as they can to make the tits constantly bounce. You know, you compare that to like Maury, right? She got a big tit model, or she got cleavage and everything. But you compare that to like some of these Twitch VTubers, where it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like they're anti-gravity, and they're like barely covered, and it's like worse than anything you see in DOA. And like, I'm not prude, man. There's gonna be gooners calling me prudes. You know, I'm not talking about that. But like, when you're going that hard in the paint on sexuality, that tells me you need it. That tells me you have nothing to offer besides enticing mid-pubescent hormonal boys, because you can't put on a show. You can't.
That is very fair. That is very fair.
Yeah, you can't. You wouldn't be able to succeed. That's why if I see like there's, oh my God, what's her name? Like Vesper, not Vesper from Hollow Stars, but it's a girl Vesper.
Yeah, the Beetle.
Yeah, the Beetle girl. I see her like, well, she must.
Death.
Yeah, she must be great, because she's doing like this weird looking, almost horror style model. She's like a crazy bug girl that has the big giant scary mouth under the little cute face. Like, yeah, I love that shtick. You must be entertaining, because you didn't feel the need to be like a half naked girl with your tits out to get me to check you out. So like that, it's like a red flag. Like, oh, you must suck. Like if you're falling back on sex appeal. You must be terrible. So, and again, sex appeal in itself is not bad. It's the leaning on it. How far do you need to lean on it? Because clearly it's compensation.
Yeah, I'm trying to not watch Valorant e-girl show up as a VTuber.
Right.
Or Valorant e-boy, where they can kitten give me an AK.
Yeah,
oh,
and that's
thank you.
That's the problem with male VTubers too. That's the problem with male VTubers. I said this before. They can't be a funny side character. They can't be a bro. They can't be the dumb guy. They have to be the main character. They have to be like the isekai protagonist that's like surrounded by elf girls. Like, no one wants to watch the fucking isekai protagonist. He has no personality. That's the point.
They want to see the goofy. They want to see the goofy side character that gets into all sorts of shenanigans. They want to see Polnareff. That's what they want.
Yes.
The ladies love Polnareff.
Everybody wants to be. All the male VTubers want to be Jotaro. When in reality, you want to be Polnareff. Straight up.
Like, and also, as an aside, Lulu, you're not any of those things. If anything, I think hearing the southern twang in your voice is probably the greatest thing that doesn't even have to do with your model, because like, let's be real, it is big tits, but it's also like just the southernness in you. It's great.
I got to be honest, she won me over with two things. She's a Gyaru, and then she had that southern twang, and I was like, sold.
Yep, that's it.
Immediately sold.
But like, yeah, I'm like saying, you could be a hot girl with big tits. That's fine. It's how much you're leaning on it is going to tell me, oh, well, you have nothing else. You're compensating, and that's all over Twitch. It's all over Twitch, and you like again.
Well, that's how the e-girl culture was in the first place,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're a person who can't game well and you're an e-girl, well then you've got to use your body in some way because that's what you got, right? Or you don't have any other sort of content, not just gaming, right? You can't develop any sort of content. And there's so much out there for you to do, but you can't do any of those skills. You have nothing else that will draw people other than going to that. And look, I have no problem if you're going to go to that, but just understand that is the road you are committing to. And you just, at that point, need to own it. Be like, yeah, I'm doing this because I am, trying to be the sexiest whatever out there. Just own it. Don't pretend you're not doing it. I mean, just be honest about it, and I have no problem with it.
Thing too, if you really want to see it in action, what I'm talking about, if you still don't kind of get what I'm talking about, there's a Twitch streamer and YouTuber, Nags, Nagzz. He's pretty well known. I'm sure like most people know who I'm talking about. He started getting into VTubers, and his audience got him into VTubers, so he does a whole thing where he reacts to VTuber clips. And he's actually, you know what? He's not bad for React content, He's not the worst React content I've ever seen. He's got a good personality. I like the guy. But if I watch his videos, I skim a lot. Because if I don't recognize the VTubers react to, I'm skimming because he's got he's Twitch audience, and it's mostly like horny teenage boys on Twitch. They're like absolute marks for Coomer baiting, absolute marks. So watch his Nags reacts to VTubers videos, and just watch one, and inevitably they will suggest to him Twitch VTubers, and you'll see the difference. You'll see everything I'm talking about when you see these clips. You'll see the HoloLive clip. Oh, look at it. That's so funny. Oh, there's a face clip. Oh, there's some girl doing something fun, crazy. It's hilarious. And then comes, ooh, my vagina, guys. So anyway, I was in the shower with my boobs out naked. Like that will come up. I mean, like, there it is.
That's fucking cringe. Like, just
Yeah,
even hearing
super
you,
cringe.
like, try to do that is so fucking cringe right now.
You know
You
what's
know
funny?
exactly what I'm talking about.
The thing that you brought up just now, it reminds me of like there's a VTuber that's I think Gator might know what I'm talking about, but it is in relation to Shizzy. When that video got put out like on Twitter, her name is like Aurora something, but
Yeah, I know you're talking
she was
about.
quick to show up into the replies, and I'm pretty sure because I just couldn't anymore. But she has posted before about how she invited some guy over for literally a hookup, found out that she was a VTuber, and still proceeded to tell the entire story of where she had sex. Okay, whatever. Like, women gonna women, I guess. Whatever it is. And then it comes to the Shizzy thing. And I'm like, oh my god, this lady, I can't do it anymore. Block.
Yeah.
Well,
And
she
there's
was
another
also
VTuber.
one of those people that was hardcore attacking Pikami, Silverveil, Vebe, and others for the Hogwarts Legacy stuff. Like, and
Oh, yeah.
when we get into Offkai, like her name's gonna kind of pop up again. But it's just like you see all of these sorts of people, all of these terrible people, and literally every single story we're going to talk about today involves all of these people. Because what they're doing is
What a coincidence!
Yeah, I know. What a coincidence. But you keep seeing these same names pop up. People like Ducky. Like you see these are terrible people. They are tourists into the industry, and they will take and destroy it if they're not gate kept and if they're not shoved aside and ruthlessly mocked.
And that's the thing about it. That's the monkey's paw, is we want things to be, good for everyone, and then the tourists come in. If you don't stop the tourists now, especially because what we know about Offkai right now, anything going forward is completely ruined by these people that we're talking about today. Like, whether or not it is true, whether or not it is false, but seeing everything as it is from an outsider perspective, or even just a casual viewer of VTubers, when you see these people's names continuously pop up for more than the same thing, you have to start wondering, do I even want to do this anymore? That's why people usually, again, they stick to the sterilized corpo stuff. They don't have to go to Offkai. If there's ever a competing convention for VTubers specifically in America, they're going to go to that and not Offkai.
And that's
Yeah,
the danger
that's
with
right.
it,
Worried
bro.
about it.
So I mean, maybe I don't know how hard we want to segue, but that's the biggest thing I see. Like I cannot hold back. Like when there's an opportunity in a market, it's clear, and the opportunity in the market now could not be more clear for a competitor to Offkai to just come out and say, yeah, we're just this other thing and we're non-political, right? To me, that's like, and it's going to happen because it's so clear. I'm sure other people are thinking this idea too. I'm sure it's not just, one person. Obviously, the market is big enough. And why does every single VTubing company talk about expansion in North America? Because the market is ripe and the market is large and it's going to be absolutely successful. So yeah, I think Offkai is going to have to deal with that. If anything, they're going to have to deal with several. I think not just one competitor.
Especially if they start
Otherwise.
pissing people off. Because if they make people happy and they're like, yeah, I'll go to Offkai. Offkai is my convention. A couple of other ones will pop up, but Offkai will be the name. But if Offkai just starts pissing people off, then the next thing people are going to think is, what is my alternative to Offkai?
Well, that's
Right.
what they've done.
Yeah, and this shit is already. And I hate it, man, because like I was all happy for people to be showing up at Offkai and what was going on Offkai, and then they had to pull this garbage. And it's like,
yeah.
also, can I just say, it hurts a little bit when you say like, oh, Ducky, the worst person, this Ducky person, because that's also my girlfriend's online nickname.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah. So you can imagine when I see this asshole show up, it's a little extra. It's a little extra like, stop it. Change your fucking name. At least change your fucking name if you're going to be a piece of shit. Because it tastes like sulfur. Just hearing like, yeah, this Ducky is a piece of shit. Fucking hate Ducky. Like, I get it, but it still hurts. Still hurts.
Sorry, Cody.
I know.
And see
That
the
you got from me, Gator.
yeah. So I brought up this because the first immediate fallout from all of this was Rev and his I guess fiance. Are they? I'm not sure if they're married.
Wife?
Right?
No, they're wife. They're married. They're married.
They're married. So yeah. So wife.
The thing is, I love my wife. That's his Twitter. Like,
To be saying
Fire.
that is like a, like we don't. They might be internet boyfriend girlfriend, and he's just being emphatic about it.
Oh, they're
Or they could be
married.
married.
Yeah, Jets confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, they are married. But Rev
Okay.
and his wife immediately pulled out of Offkai after the news happened about Kirsche. And for people in chat that don't know, Kirsche, our favorite spicy fox lady, got blacklisted from Offkai Expo. She was slated to co-host a panel with somebody else, and she was banned from the convention because allegedly a volunteer took umbrage with her and threatened to quit. But see, I don't
single volunteer.
yeah, the guy Lysander that she was talking to seemed to imply that it was one volunteer, but I don't think one volunteer would make the entire convention like get on its knees.
I don't know. I had my theory, Gator, that it's that it could be a person that's very close to the leadership at some point. So if it's one particularly powerful volunteer, I think that could be a problem. If there's somebody who's like kind of come with the convention, there's sort of those types of volunteers. They're like the people that come with the pipes and the pavement. They're there baked into the con because they've been there since the beginning. Those type of people. If it's one of those, I can see that. I've been to a lot of conventions and I can see that happening if it's one of those type of volunteers.
Yeah, and then there's the other side of the theory, which is that he was saying volunteer because it was somebody that was actually on staff, and it's easier to say volunteer because he knew that Kirsche was going to like show everybody this was going to get out, to say it's a volunteer instead of staff because it won't reflect as harshly on Offkai as a whole. Or alternatively, it maybe it's not a member of staff. Maybe it's somebody that is a featured guest there, somebody that was on the guest list that didn't like her and just happened to have enough influence in order to keep her out. That's another theory. But the truth is, we'll never actually know unless people after the convention are willing to go on record and talk about this, even if it's anonymously. And by the way, anybody that wants to talk about this anonymously, if you have information, if you are a volunteer at Offkai and you have that information, I would probably wait till after the con to release that information. But you can always send an email. Andrew, what's your email address? AndrewEsquire@gmail.com.
Oh, Andrew Esquire Live at gmail.com. You know, you can hit me up on X, even if I check everything, or just tag me and I'll get you there. But yeah, Andrew Esquire Live at gmail.com. Just slide it over there and I'm happy to talk about it. And once again, if you're somebody who knows, or maybe even the person who wants to come out and make a statement, that's fine. And we might see in this, kind of a self-confession, because the person might come out and say, yeah, I was the person, because they're proud of getting Kirsche banned. I can see that happening.
Or if you're someone that is requesting an unban, you can email me at dspgaming@hotmail.com, where I read every email. That is very true. Listen, I heard the emails fly, and I was like, I got to get in there with that one, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do kind of go with what Gator was saying, because my theory, my camp, is that it is a guest that is a VTuber that just, I wouldn't say that they have any kind of pull, but I think that it was somehow like coerced, like they probably got their way by stomping their feet pretty hard, is my guess. And again, and like you said, no one will really ever know unless they choose to come forward at some point. But that's where I land in it, because if it were just the volunteers, I'm sure that there's like a million other people that they can choose to go in there and say, hey, do you know how to run a convention? If you are, we'll give you a free place to stay and you'll get free lunch. And then they just do it, because I'm sure they would not be upset to cart around their Oshi on a little telepresence robot. That makes no sense to me. But again, maybe they're already at that point where staff is that vapid that we have to, look at our guest list and say, yeah, I don't like that one.
To be clear, most volunteers they volunteer for a free ticket, typically because they just want the free ticket. I mean, that's at most conventions I've worked at, and I've made it clear on my channel. I've been at Dragon Con, MomoCon, Colossal Con, and some other smaller conventions, which I won't mention because they're too small. But most volunteers I speak to, they're just like, yeah, I just want a free pass. Like, I'm a college kid and I just want to not pay $100-$200 for a the convention pass. Yeah, no, I completely understand that. But once again, what is the loss to the convention of a free entrant? Right? Nothing. You're not really losing that if it was a basic volunteer. That's why my theory is it's got to be somebody with more sway, because if it's just somebody, for example, the door greeter or some random person, that wouldn't be enough for them to get rid of a panelist. It'd have to be somebody who is willing to go to leadership, able to go to leadership directly and say this and get somebody removed, like Kirsche, get them proactively removed.
My personal theory is because the convention is being held in California, so a lot of their volunteers are going to be local Californians, and I think it's just a matter. It's somewhere between what Legal Mindset's saying and like the other theory of it being like just crew or help. I think it's enough crew of these Californians, with the fact that this is a very new convention. This is like the second year, I think. In the second or third year?
This is the third year now.
Yeah, it's a pretty new convention. So you could have these people running it that don't have that confidence yet, and think they can't afford to have a walkout of staff, and thought this was the easier thing to do. Like, worried that if Kirsche comes on, these California kids that are handling the con infrastructure will walk out, and then what do we do? So, like, held hostage by like almost like a union walkout type thing. That's my personal theory. They just thought that this would be the easier path to we'll just disinvite Kirsche, and that way we won't lose our gophers and all that shit.
I will say this, because you remember right before the COVID lockdown happened, and when the riots for who happened, I remember because I used to work in the Bay Area, and that was like when the riots were happening. I overheard some coworkers that were you could kind of just tell that like where they stayed at, probably in Oakland somewhere, those kinds of surrounding areas. And I remember the one guy saying, "Hey, don't get caught out there too late tonight." He's like, "No, I'm not stupid. Like they're not going to go out of their way to do the thing that would get them in trouble because at least they have a good paying job." I feel like again, it's like Legal Mindset said, it's like someone that's close to leadership of some kind that would have made such a request that it would have been as devastating as if there were a mass walkout of these volunteers. It would have to have been.
Yeah.
It could be also naivete too. Again, these are new con runners, and just the thought that like perhaps the people that are angry convince them there would be a walkout, even if there wouldn't be. Just the prospect of like, if we invite this person, we'll have no staff. We can't survive without staff, so we'll just disinvite them. I feel like that's what happened because that feels like that's that kind of low level, like young person with a very high opinion of their the pearl clutching. Oh, my morals are so important. My God, like so like that feels like the crowd that would probably be in those. Not just a gopher, but like infrastructure type, the people running the front desk, giving out badges and info pamphlets or whatever. Like those people might walk out, and the people corralling lines would walk out. And I feel like they felt like they would lose them, even if they probably wouldn't in reality. Just sort of new, naive con runners that kind of don't understand.
Well, hold on. How long has this con been around?
3 years.
So,
This will be
this
the
is the third year.
Yeah.
Third year is an interesting point because third year is not your first year, right? And I would love to know if these people have run any conventions before they ran, if the leadership here has done any other conventions, because a lot of times many of the larger conventions are run by companies that are like con management companies that run several conventions.
Well, the previous 2 years are pretty jank. Like from what I remember, the previous 2 years were very much like you could see the duct tape, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, like last year, tape on the floors. I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, well then maybe there's some issues, right? But that said, by the third year, you should have shaken out that we're a new con, dust. I mean, I guess this is their first time dealing with this type of request, most likely. So maybe they haven't had this sort of thing before happen, so they're dealing with it. But most cons are very experienced with this sort of type of thing. I mean, it's going to come up very quickly where you have somebody involved that doesn't like X or Y. That's always going to come up. Anytime you have people, that's going to come up.
Yeah, the problem is that now that they've established this precedent that one person supposedly can blacklist a VTuber, it's going to be a cascading effect because as Kirsche, Kirsche had this conversation with this Lysander person. One of the things that got revealed, Kirsche made a mistake. She thought that Offkai, she mixed up Offkai and Youmacon with Pippa because Youmacon very publicly tried to get rid of Pippa because they didn't like her because she was too controversial for them. And so they told Fishman, you can bring FaZe, but you can't bring Pippa. And he said, if one of us doesn't go, none of us go. And stood his ground. And so Kirsche,
as he should have.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. You have to stand by your talent. So that happened. Kirsche brought that up thinking it was Offkai, and the absolute genius that she was talking to revealed that, yeah, this also happened to Pippa with Offkai, and Fishman did the exact same thing. He said, no, if one of us doesn't go, none of us go.
And based Fishman. Absolutely based Fishman.
And Azehara said in my chat, he said, third year, but this is their first year with HoloLive. Maybe they don't want to look bad as to avoid them from not coming anymore, especially after they basically uninvited Nijisanji, because that was a major thing, a major event that happened. And like I said, HoloLive, this is their first year, and it's looking a little sussy.
I mean, I will say that I think they navigated the Dokibird Nijisanji stuff well by saying, okay, neither one of them is coming, right? So we're not, choosing a side there. but then to go and do this kind of fucked up your good will and good moves that you had otherwise made.
Right. And I don't think it was related to HoloLive. And the reason I say that is because there are people that have been invited that are doing panels that are far more controversial and have said way more controversial things than Kirsche has ever said. And if they were actually scared about HoloLive pulling back, they wouldn't have spent the last 2 weeks after they announced, well, they didn't announce it, but after it was revealed that they banned Kirsche on her vacation, they spent the next 2 weeks announcing panels about identity cult, political stuff and identity and all this other stuff, all this, cultural brain rot stuff. So it's if they were scared that HoloLive was going to pull out because of culture war shit, they wouldn't have announced any of those panels or brought on any of those people that are associated with that stuff.
Yeah, the whole thing just feels like someone in staff just has it out for Kirsche especially. And I think it's because Kirsche just has that rep, more of a rep than some of these other controversial VTubers. Of she's a commentary VTuber. She does other stuff. She plays games and stuff. But she's that's a big part of her brand is commentary. And she's talked about the bridge thing and the fact that she interacted with Alex Jones in a not negative way. She didn't say yay, Alex Jones. I don't know, maybe she has in the past, but to my knowledge, she hasn't. It was just she responded to an Alex Jones tweet and hey, the thing you're talking about is funny, haha, or something like that. It was nothing. But the fact that it was nothing and not condemnation.
And responding to Sam Hyde, right? At this point, Sam Hyde's just the funny fish tank guy and the guy that, called out Hassan,
Yeah.
People just, what they do is they invent this fictitious version of a person, assign everything they don't like to that person, and then they rage against that person. And I think that's what's happening with Kirsche. They have ascribed to her everything they hate about the right wing or whatever, even though Kirsche's middle of the road libertarian type. But they've ascribed to her like Kirsche's Trump to them, and they just they're throwing everything they hate about the right wing at Kirsche, and it's just none of it's real. It's all fake. They made it up.
It's not going to stick, and that's why it's not going to stick, because it's not genuine.
And who cares if she was right wing?
Right.
You have whatever politics you want. The idea that you cannot make any kind of public appearance if you have the wrong politics is disgusting. And if you believe in that in any way, I don't care what moral rationalization you use to excuse, well, we can't platform hateful. No, just because someone doesn't agree with you doesn't make it hateful. People that disagree with you are allowed to speak. People that disagree with you are allowed to have careers. And if you do not believe so, you are everything that is wrong with the world around us. You should not speak. You should not be able to have things because you make everything worse for both sides.
Yep.
There is nothing redeemable about you if you hold that belief. Please exit this space, all spaces, the online space. Go the fuck away.
Yeah. No, agree.
I just think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting. Well, she's right wing. Who cares? Even if she is, the idea that she's not really she's right leaning, right? But she's more libertarian. She's right leaning, but
definitely
if you're right,
libertarian, if you maybe choose.
Yeah, she right wing. Who cares? Who cares? What does that mean? What is right wing? Ooh, right wing. Speak of it only in hushed tones. The right wing. There can be only a left wing. How is there a right wing? We are but a one-armed bird. No, who fucking cares?
Yeah, it's really stupid. It's really stupid, and it's stupid that it's happening with Offkai because they had everything in their hands. They got HoloLive this year. It's a very limited presence, but next year it could have been even bigger. And now what's probably going to happen with all of this drama that's come out is that people are gonna take note of that. They don't think that people talk, but they do. And people look at the stuff that's going on. And they make decisions to avoid controversy at any chance they can avoid controversy, they'll take it. And so you may not see HoloLive next year. And that's the danger that Offkai is taking here. And they may not think of it that way. They may think, oh, well, now that we've got them, we're the only VTuber convention in town. nobody's gonna step up to us. Nobody can challenge us. Well, this is how it happens. Somebody's gonna step up, and somebody's gonna say, you know what? Yeah, we'll have Kirsche. We talked about, we alluded to the Vic stuff. That's what happened with Vic, is that conventions were like, you know what? We will have him. We will bring him in. And guess what? They got a ton of money for it. And it'll be the same with other banned VTubers. Other conventions are going to take the chance. They're going to be like, you know what? We're going to bring Kirsche in. We're going to bring Pippa and FaZe in. And we're going to make a crap load of money doing it.
And I'll tell you right now, these other companies are not going to, I mean, FaZe aside, because like obviously I think FaZe has more of a concern here, because of the comments about Pippa specifically, and also because of the relationship between, Kirsche and Pippa, for better or for worse, that's there, right? Like, if that's clearly the logical next step, right? So you ban Kirsche year 1, and year 2 you get to ban Pippa, because there's no logical dividing line if you're banning Kirsche, between banning Kirsche and banning Pippa, and banning a lot of other creators that have said one or two spicy things, right? So that's not going to stop. So I think FaZe, of all the corporations, is probably the one that's like, yeah, that's not happening next year. HoloLive, I think, I mean, maybe they'll wait and see, and maybe they'll look at the revenue, and maybe they're just going to go cold hard numbers on this. But I can't see them, if there's controversy continuing afterwards, and this is not resolved, and there's not some sort of apology or whatever, this is not patched over, that they decide to come back to the convention.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if Offkai starts making themselves controversial at all, HoloLive won't engage.
Yes.
And HoloLive will pull back. Even if you think like, well, no one really cares about Kirsche. There's all these other big names. No one really cares. Like, no, Cover's gonna care, because they're not gonna want to touch that poop. Like, that's the thing. Like, it took a lot of doing to allow them to collab with like Vshojo, and then they kind of pulled back for a while on that. And I think they might have let go of that again. But even then, now they see Vshojo as more competition. But it takes a lot. Cover's very finicky about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, word. And if they smell that Offkai might be a risk at all, like that, they're just gonna like dial back the presence. You're not gonna see like Holo Stars. You're not gonna see HoloLive. You're not gonna see Holo ID at Offkai. I mean, they might let them have a merch presence, but you're not gonna see guests. You're gonna see them scale that shit back next year if Offkai wants to play this game. If they think that if they get the idea that it's a political statement to associate themselves with Offkai. And that's the stupid part about this. Like, don't listen. Never listen to people that say, how dare you platform this person? I will leave if you do. Unless the person that they're complaining about has committed a crime, like groomed children or something. Never listen. Because if you bend the knee, it just creates this whole, like, just, like, I don't even, I'm like, I got a million metaphors in my head, and I can't pick one. But like a cascading effect, let's go with that. Like, it will create the cascading effect that just, you got shit on your face now. You have to deal with the shit that you wouldn't have had to deal with it if you just ignored the weirdo that had a problem with a person's opinions. Just ignore those weirdos.
And just kind of speaking to Offkai as a very normal convention, because one of the things that Gator, I think you might have still, is there's a bunch of different panels, and they're all happening in these really weird time slots in these very specific places. One of them is VTubing and identity. How VTubing can help you express your truest self online. There's nothing that you need to express that way other than just being yourself. And one of the people that's on one of those panels, or on that one specifically, is our best friend Ducky. Wow. And Ducky has been very, very like outspoken about how much he loves Nijisanji, because you have to be like actually delusional to look at Nijisanji. Like, I'm not even saying like you have to hate them, everything that they do, but you have to look at this laundry list of things that they've done and be like, yeah, that's kind of bad. And then you just kind of like, you don't have to stop doing anything. You just kind of have to like assess it for yourself. Like, this doesn't look too good. and just back away. There was another one like about black VTubers, like black don't crack, and I'm like, wow, I would never have chosen that to be the tagline, but you know, do whatever it is you do. But like again, and even Lulu said it in my stream earlier. She said that when you're VTubing, you're a character because you don't know what these people do behind the scenes unless you're like real life friends with them. For all you know, they could be selling drugs out on the fucking corner. You don't know what they're doing. Then they come back and like, chat, I missed you guys so much. I had some real life stuff happen, and it's like I was like 2 rocks short. And then like we don't know that, but that's, you know, the panels just irritate me in such a way. But like, we don't
why does
know.
it matter if you're black? If you're a black
Right.
VTuber, why does it fucking matter? You're playing a character. I mean, look. I'm gonna break a bit of a rule here because there's a very well-known VTuber that like never brings it up, but he's black. You know what? I won't say his name, but let's just say you know him. We all know him. Very famous male VTuber, very well-known male VTuber. You could probably guess by his voice. He's black, and he even posted to 4chan anonymously, but we know it's him because he revealed an artifact. But he never has mentioned it. Never has mentioned it. Never said like needs to say like I'm part of the black VTuber community. Like you could guess from his voice, but otherwise never mentioned it. You know why? Because he's playing a fucking character.
Listen, Sterling was like, it's you, it's NECRO 13. No, listen, if anything, people thought I was white when I started doing anything on YouTube. And you would probably still think I'm white. I'm not like black like Wesley Snipes in the coal factory on a Saturday night black, but I'm like, you know, I'm like caramel colored. It's fine.
Christ.
Listen,
God.
that's my favorite go-to.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
He ain't Mayday black, but you know,
Hey.
he's got his melanin. Yeah.
You know, I'm like kind of like just lighter than Beyonce, so I'm just barely over that.
You're on the top side of the Family Guy meme.
Yes, exactly.
You're above the red line.
Listen, you guys are fine. I got the card for you. It's okay.
Look, I have this guy. I have this friend. His name is ER.
I think, see, he can give it to you. He's like way cooler than me.
I grew up in Baltimore. I got my pass years ago.
See,
But
guys,
yeah,
we're all black. Maybe they are right. Black don't crack. We're in here. Yes.
It was like, yeah, like this guy I'm talking about. I'm sure again, there's people who already know who I'm talking about. He never brings it up. Never brings it up, and he's like probably the biggest black VTuber. And like the fact that it's that knowledge that you're playing a character. If you're still hung up on your real world identity, you should not be VTubing because you are unable to play a fucking character. You can't separate. You need to separate. You need to be able to do the kayfabe. You need to be able to be someone else. If you can't let go of that ego, you're gonna fail. Because you look at the biggest VTubers, and what's the big thing? They can all let go of their ego. All of them, they respect the kayfabe, even if they tie a lot of the stuff. You know, the Pippa thing I've talked about. Like, yeah, she still respects the kayfabe, but it's like integrates her real life. You know, Papakin and Mamakin and all this stuff. But still, the separation is there. You need that separation. If you can't do it, you can't VTube.
And I'm not discouraging anyone that wants to like learn from these people, except for Ducky. Sorry, I have a bias. But if you are a person that does struggle from VTubing an identity or being a black creator, and these panels are helpful for you, by all means. I'm not going to be there because I'm going to be buying merch and partying my ass off and doing some other stuff that 4chan says that I do. But trust, it's a whole fucking rabbit hole. But that's, if people need it or if they think they need it, then go for it. Because if anything, I've learned from peers in the same thing that I do, and they tell me, they don't even tell me directly, but they'll put it out there. One of them is good friend of the channel. Oh no, it's Alex. He does console war stuff because he finds the fanboys of these consoles and he makes videos and streams about them like almost every day. And it's because they keep supplying him endlessly with the stupid shit they put on Twitter. And it just adds up to revenue for him. But he said that something I've noticed as I make more content / live streams is that people are lonely. All we want is to be entertained, even for a few minutes from life. So if you feel that way, hit the record / go live button. You don't know who your content can help, even if it's just for a little bit. And like stuff like that, I learned, like even now I still learn it. And I'm like, yeah, I just need to quit being a shithead and just stream something. I don't even care what it is. That's kind of what these people probably feel like, is that they don't have that confidence, and they need VTubing and identity, or they need the Black VTuber panel. Like, I'm not even shitting on it from that perspective. It's like, yeah, they're pointless to me, but they may help someone else. Your mileage gets a little varied when you throw Ducky in there, though.
Well, the thing is, though, about these panels, it's like I don't think any one of us would be like, yeah, we're gonna go with petition.
His internet just died.
But once again,
yeah.
Your internet cut out for just a second. You're back now, though.
My internet?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Philippines. So, but shout out Jakarta time. Niji sisters, what's up? But seriously though, like, I don't think any one of us would have a problem with the existence of like the Black VTubers panel or whatever. Like, that's not really an issue. The issue is that, like, clearly you have stuff that is expressing a certain type of opinion. People, if you brought in a judge who's like, all right, look at this convention, eliminate everything political. Well, then they would clearly eliminate those panels if they would eliminate Kirsche as well.
Right.
If anybody neutral would come in and take out Kirsche, they'd clearly wipe out those panels. They'd also take some people, right? Because if we're banning people, we'd take some people out of the convention totally as well. So the thing is, it's all about coming in a fair-minded way, in a balanced way, and removing people that would need to be removed if that was your true goal. But that's not your actual goal.
Like, when I'm talking about the black panel earlier and everything, like, I'm not even saying they shouldn't have it. I'm just saying,
right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
None of us would have a problem. None of us would have a problem with them doing it. No, whatever, do it. I don't care. Like, it's fine.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying like the clear distinction is that they should absolutely be able to have it. I think, though, it does speak, and I'm saying outside of the Kirsche thing, I think it speaks to a bad sign for them in the VTubing sphere, in that, like, if you can't separate your identity, you're probably not going to make it because you can't play the character.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring that up because someone might, take me out of context earlier. But also to the Kirsche thing, I think, yes, it's 100% okay for those people to have those panels, and God bless them for it. Just like it's 100% okay for Kirsche to have a panel.
Correct.
If they can have it.
That's the end point. Yeah,
yes,
that's the end point there.
If they can have their panels on their identity and all their little identity politics bullshit, God bless them, let them have it. Kirsche should also be able to have a panel. And if you're going to let them have a panel and not Kirsche, you are sending a message. You're sending a message to your guests, to the people attending your convention, to anybody watching from the outside considering attending next year. You are sending a message that you have a side, you have something you're trying to promote. And people are fucking sick of conventions promoting shit. People just want to go to conventions to nerd out about their nerd hobbies. People are fucking tired of politics getting in the way of their nerd hobbies, and that is a big reason why cons are dying. I mean, you could blame COVID, but COVID ended. People started going to cons again, and then cons kept dying. Well, why did the cons keep dying? Well, people gotta want to come to your con, and like, people are getting sick of this shit invading their hobbies and their escapism. And if you're gonna do it too, Offkai, it's not going to bode well for you, especially if someone else decides they're going to start a VTuber convention that doesn't ban people, and they got the scratch to put it on. And if they got the scratch to put on a good one in a good venue, and they can attract HoloLive, and they can attract FaZe Connect, and they can attract all these other companies, suddenly you have competition that a lot more people are going to trust. Because if you think there's more people that want people banned than there are that want people not banned, you're at your damn mind. Because for every one person saying, how dare you platform that person, there are 10, 20 people telling that one person to shut the fuck up.
And it may not be the convention cropping up just to like hedge people's expectations. What happens is with conventions is it's not that the convention dies in 1 year, right? It's a slow strangulative death, right? So the new con will pop up and it will start by maybe just getting phase, right? You know, and people are like, all right, whatever, they just get phase and we get hollow and we're all good. But then hollow goes away, right? But then, you know, and then the other one gains some more folks and they gain Vshojo, right? So it's a slow growth. So all of a sudden you're outgrown by the other convention and you shrink into near irrelevance, right? Maybe there still is an Offkai, but hey, maybe the sales are 10% of what they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? That's how conventions end up dying.
Yep. You
Death by 1,000 cuts.
100%. And you're going to have people that like the following year will cope. Like let's say that the competition comes around, Offkai's still bigger, haha, you know, Offkai better, they're cope. But then if like pull back, you look at the macro, the number, you know, the macro picture. You look back and like, well, Offkai has been going down, like the numbers are less. And then this little con that's popping up, that's like doing what Offkai won't, well, their numbers are going up. I mean, you look at Anime Matsuri, grew to the point where they're starting a studio, which I still want more information on how that's going.
I want to know where AM Studios is. I definitely do.
Yeah, but they're at least trying. They're at least giving it a shot, and they were able to give it a shot because they became the anime con that wasn't going around banning people, that was letting people come to their con that other conventions weren't for political reasons, especially Vic Mignogna. And look at them. They're huge now. And that's what happens. And now these other cons, especially many of the disinvited Vic Mignogna, are dropping off. Like, blip, 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 dropping off like flies. And like meanwhile, AX was a clusterfuck last year. It's a mess.
It's a clusterfuck every year.
He was telling me, Necro was telling me about it earlier.
Okay, so the past 2 years at Anime Expo, it's always overcrowded because
by the way, Necro, where is Anime Expo? Can you
It is in Los Angeles, DTLA.
Okay, okay, got it.
And it is usually from 2019, I think the max number of people there was like 130,000 people or so. The years when it opened up, so about I think it was 2021 and or 2022 and then 2023, those numbers exceeded that in a single day. And now I think that they're saying that those numbers I maybe this year, and I could probably be really skewed about those numbers, it could be about 300,000 or more, because it is the #1 largest anime convention in the country. And the past 2 years, they've had the fire marshal come in and stop people from entering because there's too many people inside. Not to mention, in 2022, the AC was broken on day one, and people, they were kind of dropping like flies. And I'm pretty sure that's the year where someone died. They were standing in line for Azure Lane merch, and they fell over. And they had to close the booth for the day, so no one got to get anything.
Wow.
Imagine dying for Azure Lane merch.
That is nuts. That is actually nuts.
Oh, God.
Yeah, from the people that were there, my friend Jeans, who went there to stand in that line, he said that everyone had got to it, and that guy just fell over, and the people that came to cart him away were in no hurry, were his words.
That's disgusting.
Wow.
Yikes.
It's disgusting. Like, you even get to the point where that happens. And that's where kind of AX is going now. And, you know, they're not going to be the biggest anime con in the country for much longer, because like it just keeps getting worse every year. And
people will just not want to go because it's so crowded.
Well, and not to mention the prices of those tickets.
It becomes the Comic-Con effect, where they just take for granted their position in the market. And, you know, it eventually, you know, like Comic-Con is pretty much like an industry con, right? It's not for fans so much as for industry to, you know, circle jerk themselves.
Yeah, and the tickets, again, they went up in price. So in 2019, they had I think it was like 2018, and then they shipped out the tickets, but they were on a Black Friday sale for $75. Pretty normal. I would take that for a 4-day weekend. Now it is $165 for a 4-day pass.
Whoa.
What the fuck?
And so I'm just like, I'll go to LA and I'll hang out around DTLA, but there's no way in the world I'm going to pay damn near $200 to stand in many lines when I can just order all of this stuff online, and I can just go out to eat with that money. I can go to literally the newest gyoza place that's in Little Tokyo.
Yeah, that's much preferable. I'd much prefer to do that.
Or I can
Absolutely.
see white girls fight at the Hello Kitty Cafe in Irvine. That's
now
also
now that is content.
And also, unrelated, but it's to the Kirsche story. I want to direct this next one to like a lot of the folks over, a lot of the folks in the VTuber community and over like at the virtual asylum and stuff, because there's a lot of people that were like almost kind of threw Kirsche under the bus because people like Grums and Rev got involved. Like, oh god, the grifters.
The
Ew, grifters,
drama tubers is that
yeah. Well, the term grifter is like losing meaning at this point. They use
right.
it so
It's like Nazi. It's like it gets thrown around to everybody that like covers like certain topics in a certain way, and like it's true of some, but not all.
Yeah, but like I feel like this. I gotta say this. This is a very important thing that I'm about to say. This is very important. You fucking need them, man. I talked about it before on this podcast. Y'all need normies. Normies have the numbers. Your niche hobby will die without them. Not that you need them as the customers, not that you need them to be a part of your niche hobby, but because your number, especially if your niche hobby has any market appeal whatsoever, and boy do VTubers, just like anime does, you need the normies to know about your problem so that you can have the numbers to make change. I talked about before, we didn't really start to see localization, people come down on it en masse until Asmongold talked about it.
True.
That got normies on that shit.
And this is a very good point.
Yes, you need. It doesn't matter if they're not in your hobby the right way. It doesn't matter if they're tourists. It doesn't matter. You know what matters? There's more of them than there are of you. So you need them on your side to make any positive change. So guys like Grums, guys like Rev, I don't fucking care if they are grifters. If they're just looking for the next click and Rev's trying to get hits for make money on his videos, does not matter. You know what matters? That they're a bullhorn. That's what matters. They are your bullhorn. You are ineffective. It doesn't matter if you're the true fan in the world. You are ineffective. You need those big guys. You need those YouTubers. You need those eyes. You need the grifters. So anyone complaining about Grums and Rev getting involved, anyone complaining, idiot. You're dumb. Or you're just short-sighted. You're so focused on, oh, I hate internet drama. Internet drama is so cringe. I hate it. I hate people that are political. Oh my God, is that the quartering? I hate the quartering. He's so cringe. Well, you know what the quartering has? An audience, and a big one. You know what Grums has? An audience. Same with Rev. You need them. So you better be thanking the star. You know what? I don't even like Rev. And I don't know him personally. I just think he's cringe. I think he's cringe. But you know what he does? He makes videos that Asmongold watches and then gets the word out there. He gets the word out. So you know what? I don't like him, but God bless him. He's a bullhorn. You need that shit.
I will say this, for as long as I've known Cody, the only time that I've ever heard him say anything like this is when the Vic stuff was going on. He said, more power to him. I'm happy for them. Because you remember when all of these channels popped up and they were talking about the Vic stuff, and we already knew it was going to come to an end at some point. It was just not the end that we were like hoping for. But these people came in to report on the Vic stuff and to get their views, their clout, their whatever. And can't knock the hustle, but they should know that they should be thankful every single day that there's something that they can talk about. And that's the last time I've heard it. And if that's any indicator of how sincere this is, this is it right here.
I called the grifters out back in the Vic thing too.
Yep.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, with this, like the Vic thing felt more vulture-y than this.
I wasn't around for that, so it's very interesting for me as like a historical thing, because that was before I got into the internet tubing stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to me of like, what is the dividing line between what is a grifter and what is not? Like, what commentary was helpful and what commentary was not helpful, right? I mean, that is a very hard thing to put a point on. And for anybody who I ever have ever asked, well, what is a grifter? right? It's very difficult for them to give me a definition of, well, what is good content and what is not. Should nobody gets to talk about it, right? So your standard is like, unless you are a diehard true fan that has spent 99 years following them, then you get a chance to cover it. No, I mean, the whole point is you want the mainstream media to cover it, and on YouTube, the mainstream media is people like fucking Asmongold, people like Rev, people like Grums.
Like, I think the difference, just from experiencing and kind of being one of the initial catalysts for Weeb Wars, again, sorry, but that and seeing this take place, the big difference I find is the usefulness as a bullhorn. Because back in the Vic thing, you had these parasites that just, what are people tweeting? What is, who's that fucking blue-haired fat cosplayer? Renfamous. What is Renfamous tweeting today? No one fucking cares what Renfamous is tweeting today, but you're using that for clicks. That's a grifter. Like, no one fucking cares what Renfamous thinks. What matters is what
she's
helps
fat, she's stupid.
Yeah. What helps Vic save his career? Like, yeah, his career's taken a hit, but now he can still have one. And I think a large part of that was because people were talking. People got the word out that this man was being falsely accused. And so now I think Vic may have lost the court case, but he won the court of public opinion. And that I feel is more important. And the fact that helps him still have a job, even if it's not in anime, he still does things. Like, he still gets work.
Man, that Renfamous thing just took me back like 10,000
I know
years.
you were having flashbacks, and oh my god.
Yeah.
Triggered over here, yeah.
I think that's the difference. Like, if you're making a video a day, unscripted, just ranting, making sure you hit the 10-minute mark about how, like, can you believe what Renfamous said today? Fuck off. But, like, people like Grums and Rev, like, hey, here's this is a controversy where this person's being screwed to an audience that didn't know about the VTubing scene, didn't know about Kirsche or Offkai, and now they do because of Grums or because of Rev. That's the difference. That's what's helpful. Even if you hate them and think if you hate them, then just think of them as a useful idiot. But that's the real difference. And anyone complaining about that, or you, Legal Mindset,
people said it to me. No, people said it to me. I mean, I'm full disclosure. When I came into this, you guys even said at the beginning of this, people said, "Oh, well, Legal Mindset, he's grifting into this VTubing thing." Okay, so even if I was, how much attention did I bring to the Nijisanji stuff?
Exactly.
Right.
That right there is the difference. That is when it's no longer grifting, you are useful. You are performing a service by spreading something that needs to be spread, whether it's someone's getting screwed, there's false allegations, there's true allegations, whatever. You are exposing this information, this important information, or, important if you care, right? It's not like, oh, the CIA bombed something like important, but it's like important information to people that didn't know until you said something. That's the part that matters. And that's the part that I think people are so, like, they have such a knee-jerk reaction to like a content farm or like a YouTuber is covering a thing and getting lots of views, grifter. Like, it's a reaction. It's like hitting the knee with the hammer and the leg kicks up. Yeah. It's so, like, there's no thought put into it. It's just, they're so conditioned because I think so many people are just annoyed at this kind of cycle on the internet, cycle of controversies and YouTube videos and people that make their living making YouTube videos about controversies. I think there's just such a jaded mentality that you start to miss the important part. And the important part is thank fucking God for Grums, thank fucking God for Rev, because Kirsche would have gotten screwed and Offkai would have continued as normal, and the only people that really would know about it are the people that know about Kirsche. And now more people know about it. Now Offkai has to deal with this. They have to address this and hopefully course correct. They wouldn't have to course correct if the numbers weren't there. Because they could just brush it, because who knows? A niche group of weirdos knows. Who knows? It's like the localization thing. They could just keep doing this goofy localization thing, and people would just think, yeah, that's the script. But now they're more aware of these people putting in politics and dumb Zoomer speak into scripts where it doesn't belong. And now people are more acutely aware and things are being done. And there's pushback.
It's like the Nijisanji stuff, right? And Solen Tatsuki. Like, shining a light on that entire situation changed the entire course of how things proceeded. And it gave it gave Doki Bird the opportunity to kind of like get away from that stuff and soar on her own. And it also gave a lot of catharsis. Yeah, I was about to say, it gave a lot of catharsis for Sayu, who had gone through something that I would say was worse than what Doki did, because Sayu didn't have people on her side. A bunch of us were, but not to the level of what Doki Bird had. So Sayu had to go through this practically alone with nobody on her side and just kind of claw herself out from relative unknown to where she is now. And because, we covered the Doki stuff, because you talked about it, you were able to go back and be like, hey, there was also this other VTuber that Nijisanji screwed over. Her name is Sayu, and here's her story. And you were able to help her and get her. I mean, now she's got a silver play button on the way. Like, that's why this stuff is so important. It's not just because of covering like the stuff that's happening, but also being able to go back and relitigate stuff that happened in the past and be like, hey, look, this company has this track record of doing terrible things to their talent and screwing them over. Either they need to be called out for it and change, or people just need to keep calling this stuff out that they do that's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that right there is what I'm talking about, because you compare Doki Bird and Sayu. Like, Sayu went through what she went through without the bullhorn, without the quote-unquote grifters talking about it. Doki Bird had the quote-unquote grifters talking about it. Look at the difference that quote-unquote grifters makes. That's why you need them. You need the grifters and their army of ignorant normie tourists. You need them because you need numbers. Your elite little force of superfans will accomplish nothing. You need the henchmen. You need the goon squad. You need the mob. Without that, like, you are learning why you always have in fiction the bad guy. He's got his army of henchmen. You need that army of henchmen if you're going to make any headway. You need you're playing an RTS. You need those large amounts of the low-ranked soldiers that you send wave after wave of.
Key.
Yeah, you can't just throw your two high-level guys at the fucking opposing army. Like, yeah, they're my elites. They're the best. They'll do it. No, you need numbers. They get you numbers. So everybody calling these, like, oh God, Grums, ew, Grums. No, y'all be going, thank you, Mr. Grums. May I kiss your feet? You kiss that man's feet. Because that man is he's helping you get shit done. Rev is helping you get shit done.
Yeah.
So thank you, Grums and Rev. I'm not going to kiss your feet, but thank you.
Yeah, the normies are what ultimately drives your cause further. Because again, you're not even trying to appeal to them, because like that's the wrong word, but you're trying to make the case of this thing is bad. Like I know that this is like another topic that we have, but like the Assassin's Creed thing, there's people right now on Twitter, as I was doom scrolling a little while ago, there's people that are like, oh my God, why is no one bringing out Neo when they talk about this character not being Japanese? Well, and then you get the people that are like Okami who say, well, why did you guys not say anything about this? Checkmate, racist. The normies are going to gravitate to that because, of course, you need someone to be, in the right side of history. But for us on our side, as cringe as that sounds, we know what the history is. We know the deep meaning behind like why Neo was a good game and why the character is not Japanese, because he was a real person. All of these things took place. Now, when we get to the Okami, there's people in the replies like the race is just outing themselves for free. If you bring up a legitimate concern and the first thing people do is call you racist, if you're a normie from the outside looking in, you're like, how does that make them racist?
Yeah,
they have to see these other people, like Asmongold said it today. I think it was either today or yesterday, but he had a quote about how they're using Yasuke, as Phil calls him. They are using him as the example of, look, we are diverse and we are featuring the story that people really wanted. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter, because he might have been a retainer, but we're going to say he was a samurai anyways. And Asmongold said, they're only doing this so that way you guys forget that they're selling a game for $130. It's a quadruple A game according to Ubisoft. They can go fuck themselves.
They can.
What
Screw
the
that.
fuck? Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think there's a higher edition that's only at GameStop that's like over $200 or something, maybe. But again, they're using this to get away from you thinking about it. And because the people will go out of their way to enjoy the fucking pig slop that is Assassin's Creed games now, I'm sure the first couple ones are lit. I for some reason inexplicably own almost all of them because Ubisoft just gives them away. But I don't sit there and play them and look for historical accuracy. I think that they're just kind of okay. Like I'm playing Dead Island 2. I think that's an okay game. I'm sure I'm playing as the not Lenny Kravitz main character, but I didn't choose him because he's black. I was like, he's the one that has the most charm, and he's having fun. But like, you need these people like Asmongold to bring up these issues, because if he didn't, who are you going to look to? Okami 13 to say the racists are in the replies.
And that's a really good point. That's a really good point. And we talked about the localizer stuff. Like Asmongold did a lot of heavy lifting with that. If he hadn't covered it the way that he did, a lot of this stuff that was going on in the industry at the time, like nobody would have yeah, of course, like people like us would have talked about it, but like we only have like a limited reach in our own like niches. Right. Someone like Asmongold is more mainstream. He covers way more ground than we would.
Correct. And the amount of views that Asmongold, like, once again, it's a good thing. I think people get, especially creators, they get in this scarcity mentality where they say, why not me? Right? They look at another creator and they're like, that should have been me. Right? I should have 1 million views instead of Asmongold. And that's where a lot of this, I think, thinking comes from, is from creators themselves who are just jealous of that and look at that rather than say, hey, what can I learn from that? How can I grow? How can I look at what Asmon's doing and like build my channel based on the successful things he's done, and then maybe don't do some of the things he's done that aren't as successful, right? People don't think like that. They just think in this scarcity mentality, which is just frankly sad.
Yeah, streaming isn't a zero-sum game. You know,
it's not.
Multiple, you can have people watch multiple streams. Like, I know sometimes this is a very difficult concept for content creators to grasp, but you can have people that are fans of multiple different creators. If you see somebody, your neighbor, and his grass looks really green, that doesn't mean your grass sucks necessarily. It maybe means you need to try something a little different. You need to push a little harder. Asmongold's at the top because Asmongold streams like all of the time. That's what I would tell any creator. Like, I tell myself this all the time. It's like, just need to make more content. If you build it, they will come.
Oh, and by the way, the collector's edition that's at GameStop exclusively is $280.
Good God.
Christ.
What?
Yep.
What do they, like, put a flashlight in it or something? Jesus Christ.
I would rather they put one in there, but it's just statues.
The Vox Tenga.
The Vox Tenga. We got a bunch of super chats. I'm gonna catch up on these before we continue. Super Iron Bob for 10 says, I mean, there's the Avatar, but we can hear Necro's and Cody's voices. We were talking about the Zen stuff from earlier. Chaos Smash 64 for $2 says the Avatar is just as filthy as his personality, talking about Shizzy. Chaos Smash 64 for 2 says, what's the name of Lulu's channel? So that is Lulu Lasso. Lulu Lasso of Nexus. She's a good friend of the channel. We love Lulu. She's the Gyaru cowgirl we were talking about earlier. She's fantastic. She's got a meet and greet at Offkai, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Also, I sent you that so you can Jamie, can you bring up the picture of the statue?
Oh, by the way, speaking of the normie effect too, look at what happened when Asmongold started talking about VTubers. And look at a little VTuber by the name of Kasi. And what happened with her? Mm-hmm. Like once that is again the importance of, you need these people. Doesn't matter if you like them. Doesn't matter if you think you're grifters. You need them. They're your bullhorns. Jesus Christ.
$279.99.
Oh my
for
God.
those statues.
Take a gander at that, bucko. Remember, quadruple A gaming.
Oh God.
That is nuts.
I'm so glad we're about to have another gaming crash. We need it.
Yep.
For real.
Yeah. These people need to be purged.
All right. Chaos Smash for $2 says Necro is going to be drunk in an alley after partying.
Listen, I don't get that drunk. And if they do have party starters like they have at Tom's Watch Bar, maybe you have a point. But I'm gonna be on my best behavior.
You're not going full Dear John.
No, I don't pass out in the middle of the streets in foreign countries for any sort of reason. If anything, I'll probably just be in the zone. I'll be very zeroed in. I plan to be sober for at least 75% of that trip.
Sparky's Tech Corner for $4.99 says they would have been better off making Assassin's Creed Afro Samurai.
That's fine. That's fine. If they just made it a fictional Afro samurai, and I would have no problem if they just made up a character, made up a historical setting, made up a fictional setting, and just were like, yeah, this is in a fictional world where there's like samurai Wakanda, and like just do it that way. Like just make some shit up. That's fine.
It's a cringe, but it's been cringe, but it's less cringe than trying to like pass off like, no, this is real. Yeah, okay with real. He's the real.
Who was the one they called a black samurai? Actually, no one calls him that. He was never called that, right?
Yeah.
So
you know what my favorite thing is? I know it can fix this entire issue. All they have to do is when they ship out each of those copies of Assassin's Creed, all they have to do is include that $1 off Church's Chicken coupon. We can save the industry. Listen, they did it with.
Damn it, NECRO. God damn it.
No, look, it's not
This
racist.
actually
They
happened.
did it with, they did it with Afro Samurai, and they did it with Tekken Sticks.
Really?
Yes.
No
they
fucking way.
Yeah, Tekken 6 and Afro Samurai for the Xbox 360 when they came out, $1 off for Church's Chicken. It's not racist. That's
so
just what they do.
bad. Yeah, it just happens to be their sponsor, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not racist, but then if the Okamis of the world get their hands on it and they're like, nah, dog, this racist. I don't know what to tell you. I think Church's Chicken is pretty mid. I would much rather go to a different chicken place like Popeyes, maybe. But even then, if I go there, I might get body slammed. That was in the city that I used to live in.
I love that. So Popeyes has come to Asia, and it's so great because you get the delicious sandwich with like none of the risk of like violent crime. It's fantastic.
But we have Bonchon. I forgot we have Bonchon. Bonchon is fucking goated.
Bonchon is great. Yes.
I want to try Bonchon.
Or Jollibee.
Jollibee is also based. Shout out to the Philippines.
Also, for anyone on the East Coast, Royal Farms, some of the best chicken.
We just got one of those here. I can't wait to try it.
Dude, go, man. Royal Farms chicken. It'll kill your arteries because you'll keep eating it. Keep going back. Keep getting a craving. So they put meth in that shit. You got any more of that chicken, man? Just a little bit of the spices. Just put them on my tongue. Just a little bit. Just
like Cartman in the KFC episode.
Yeah.
Just eating the skin off the chicken.
And then people
tell you give them that coupon, $1 off, and it's packed in with your game case, or if they just give it to you in an email, that can solve the crisis. It'll also make people feel a little more stupid for buying a UB slop. So that's my statement to it.
Someone's gonna release some blue Royal Farms chicken and end up becoming the kingpin of the chicken game.
Imagine regional game releases. So the East Coast specifically gets that. On the West Coast, they get something else.
Breaking Bagok.
Yeah, they get something. They get a Cluck and Bell. When are we gonna make those a real thing? I mean, we did. Take-Two shut it down though. So sorry, guys.
Oh man.
All right.
Have fun.
Chaos Smash 64 for 2 said, in Soviet Russia, we pilot the USSR Vox Tenga. Prefa for $5 says, so you mean to say I can get $1 off of chicken and 3 days to play over the rest for $300?
Absolutely. What's better than a deal than that? I mean, you could sign up for Ubisoft Plus, but that's fucking stupid. You need to spend $300 and be a real gamer. Hard R. Trademark.
Oh god.
I still can't believe it's like almost $300 for the collector's edition.
Please, guys, don't laugh at my jokes. It makes me feel a little bit more racist, and I'm not racist. Only sometimes, and usually in the dead of the morning.
He wakes up and he just scowls, remembering that minorities exist.
Well, hey, I opened my first mistake is opening Twitter in the morning, and then I.
That's a big mistake.
then he remembers he is one and just does the Sideshow Bob rake reaction. Just
Yeah, it's just a constant. Okay, what is on the timeline? Wow, this is depressing. Time to look at anime titties. That's how the day goes.
And that's why people love VTubers, because you doom scroll, you see all this crazy stuff going on, and you're just like, I want to see what the cute sheep girl is doing, and just have fun doing that. I want to see what Pippa. I want to see Pippa like losing her mind at a Walmart. I want to see that kind of stuff.
That's why it's important to follow VTubers and VTuber related accounts. So you're scrolling and you're like, oh my god, look at all this bullshit, and then you see like the Corona animation. I don't know if you've seen.
I love
this fucking
funny dog.
Everybody loves funny dog. I love funny dog. Inject the funny dog into my bloodstream. I need the funny dog. That fucking the worst she can say is no animation.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly. Let me see if I can find it, because that was so funny.
One of the best fucking VTuber animations I've seen in a while. Just the faces.
See, that is real content. That's true and real content.
Yes, and you need that as a palate cleanser. Because, like, I don't feel like the idea that you should just shut yourself off from what's going on in the world and to escape them, I think that's bad, right? Because that shit's important. There's that Stone Toss. Stone Toss could be a little hit or miss. Sometimes he's kind of weird about some things, but sometimes man hits it. And that I Just Want to Grill comic, where it's like, I just want, like, politics, I just want to grill. And then he, like, pulls up the patty and it's made of bugs. And he's, like, shocked. And like, oh, no, my meat is gone, So he's got a point. Like, you can't, there's a lot of people that won't let you grill. And you need to be on a lot of this stuff. But that doesn't mean you need to be obsessed and consumed by it either. There's that moment where you do the important thing, and then you take a breather from the important thing. That's why I think it's very important, genuinely important, to follow VTubers and VTuber content on Twitter. So you're scrolling through all this bullshit. Oh my god, the world is falling apart. Funny dog. Oh god, the world's falling apart. Look at the goofy thing this phase girl said. Does she even realize what that means? Haha. Oh, you funny, like that kind of thing. You scroll through funny. Oh, it's cute animation. Like, you need that. You need that palate cleanser. You need to come up for air occasionally.
Yep.
And I think that's a big reason VTubing took off like it did. Like, the whole of the internet just collectively went and just came up for air through VTubing.
Yeah.
You know what? I just thought about something. This is going to be my last quip about Assassin's Creed. What if they made that GameStop bundle $350? Then we could have the Tree Fitty meme.
Oh no!
Perfect.
No one would have ever guessed. It would have been great.
Imagine when collector's editions that expensive had like 4 or 5 things in them instead of just, you want to play the game and also a decoration.
Yeah, no, you now, like back in the day, Modern Warfare 2, you get game, steelbook case, and you get the night vision goggles, and they worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get
a statue. It's always a statue. That's all they ever do. It's just a statue and a box and the game in it. And then you give us hundreds of dollars for this fucking statue. No.
Chat, stop booing me. You know I'm right. $350 would have been the best price point.
Not for anyone to actually buy it, but so the people can flood Ubisoft with Tree Fitty. I need to buy Tree Fitty.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be any more of a mess than the Capcom or Marvel versus Capcom Infinite thing that they had. The gems, the stones.
Oh, yeah, the eggs.
Yeah, my god, that was... Talk about a bait and switch.
Oh, Legal Mindset doesn't know about the eggs.
I don't know about the eggs. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, this is fighting games, so this is my realm here. So let me walk you through this. So they're making Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right? So the hype is building because there's been no new Marvel vs. Capcom for a long time. That's like one of the biggest fighting game franchises ever.
Best games. I remember that at the arcade. Yeah,
he even knows. He knows Marvel vs. Capcom, and they're making
the original. Yeah.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And it's going to be the big new thing. And the game, it's a tragedy. Because gameplay-wise, it's the best in the series. But Marvel fucked over Capcom with all their MCU mandates and all this other bullshit. So they had the Infinity Stones as part of the gameplay. Now, they had done that before with Marvel Superheroes, and that was fine. They just brought that back. In fact, that was hype. Hey, they're bringing it back for Marvel Superheroes. Remember that game? Woo! And one of the things they had as a promotion was if you got the collector's edition, you get all these statues and all this stuff, but also a box of Infinity Stones. And Gator has pulled up what they looked like in the promotional material and what they looked like when people actually got them.
No,
They were
way.
Easter eggs.
But wait.
How the fuck did they do? How did they ever get away with that without being hit with fraud? But
wait, there's more. They can't come out of the box.
Wait, what?
They're not objects that come out of the box. They're part of the box.
What?
They're stuck in there. You can't take them out. It's just a box with egg-looking things in it, in the inside.
No. How much did they sell us for again?
I'm not sure on the price, but I'm sure it was like $150. I think that was like the standard price for those.
Yeah.
They didn't even come out. They were just part of a display.
It was about $180 when it launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it actually looked like the top and they didn't come out of the box, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But like when you look like dog shit Easter eggs and you can't even pull them out.
Yeah, someone had managed to get one out, and it's just like the half you see up top. Like it's a flat bottom.
Dome, yeah.
With like a little light in it, because they do light up, but it's like a single LED or something. Yeah. It's really bad.
Wow.
It's a big egg-shaped Christmas light.
Yeah, and you know, this kind of like, again, the Assassin's Creed is what we kind of roll into, but you remember Fallout 76 had kind of the same issue, except theirs was a lot more tragic because they had these canvas bags and then replaced them with essentially trash bags when they sent them out to real people. And not to mention that the orders that were placed on their own storefront, well, they kind of accidentally maybe released the information to a lot of people. And
you got doxxed if you got doxxed if you tried to get a refund or anything.
Yep.
So, wow.
Yeah, it's all an Internet Historian's video.
Yeah, just if you want a good a good reminder, that's one of them.
Yeah, that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was tragic because, like, again, gameplay-wise, just as a video game to play with it in your hands, it was better than any other Marvel vs. Capcom they'd ever made. Like, hands down. But there were all these mandates, like they couldn't include any X-Men characters because at the time Marvel didn't have the movie rights to X-Men, and Disney was salty about that. So, and the X-Men characters are the most popular ones from the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Who do people play? They play Magneto, they play Storm, they play Sentinel, they're X-Men characters. Wolverine, yeah. But like, those are the ones people know from Marvel vs. Capcom. None of them are in Infinite. The comic book aesthetic that was really cool from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, gone. It had to be MCU looking, so everything was ugly and realistic. The UI was shit because everything had to be realistic and MCU looking. The music was shit because it had to be like MCU style music. It couldn't be the really cool tunes that had been in the series forever. Like,
that's not Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Which is, again, it's a fucking tragedy because they added cool characters and the gameplay was beautiful. It was beautiful to play. And it's just like, it never had a chance because of fucking Disney. And now the series is basically dead because of Disney.
So I just want you guys to know that we came to the conclusion that everything kind of just fucking sucks.
Disney is the devil. And I hate
everything Disney touches, does go to shit. I mean, there's a reason why I transitioned from Disney to Nijisanji, because they're not far off from each other. Like, they really are, in terms of shitty corporations, they're very close.
You're not wrong.
I really think my favorite thing from Nijisanji is the Four Loko incident. The not Four Loko incident.
Yes.
God, that was, come on.
The Japanese government had to issue a warning to Japanese citizens to not consume energy drinks and alcohol in mass quantities.
In response to that. The thing is, it's not whether or not, because people say, well, actually, the actual percentage isn't dangerous. It's just the fact that Nijisanji went out and did it, and the fact that this was the response from the government. The government felt the need to place this warning in response to Nijisanji. Like, that is so bad.
Nijisanji fucked up so bad, the government had to get involved.
I mean,
just drink that in. At what point does Riku get kicked out? That's the big question.
I mean, I think it's going to take some bad quarterly results. I think we're going to need to see the next quarter and what goes down. But I mean, I think if they don't get some direction that's going up instead of down, it's not good news for Riku, especially in light of Cover's results.
Yeah, that's why I keep thinking, like, it really does go down to, who's in charge. Because we were talking before in this podcast that, like, Riku is basically anti-Yago. He's the evil Yago. He's the photo-negative, evil meme Yago. Like, evil Yago be like, welcome to Nijisanji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that. You see, like, how Yago is running things and how great it is. And just look at that fucking HoloFest they just had and people screaming from joy and just unbridled just happiness in that whole fucking stadium. And, like, you look at how HoloLive's doing. Everybody's happy. Couldn't be happier. The talents are happy. The fans are happy. Look at Nijisanji. And what is the difference? It's who's in charge. Because when management ain't doing right by the talents in HoloLive, Yago says, bye. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Like, at some point, if Nijisanji's going to get better, it really just, Riku's got to go. And I feel like that's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. Like, the stocks keeps dropping. They keep fucking up. They're in one controversy after another. It just never ends. And at some point, Riku's just going to have to get the boot.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, he's gonna have to fall on the sword, but it's the problem. I feel like the problem is systemic at this point, though, because Riku isn't the one that calls like every single shot. Like, he's gonna delegate some responsibilities. So I feel like it'll start with Riku, but I don't think the problem will be fixed, and you're gonna see a lot of heads will have to roll before Nijisanji turns the corner and actually starts making some positive moves. I mean, Cover is beating them to the US market by opening an actual studio here in the United States. Like, that was Niji, like, had a massive, like, financial head start on Cover because they made just so much money last year, and they could have taken those resources and they could have put them towards building 3D studios in the United States, and they could have beat Cover to the market. Right. But because they screwed around and because they did all this stupid stuff, Cover's going to beat them here.
Yep.
And their lead, Nijisanji's financial lead on Cover, has evaporated before our very eyes.
Oh, yeah. Like, Niji, people, I think people forget or just don't even know because they came in late. Niji used to kick Cover's ass. Like, Niji was, that's why the Disney comparison ain't too far off. They were the big ones. They were the big company. You think about VTubers, like, I think Niji even started 2D VTubers. Like, they're the ones that began the 2D avatar for VTubers. Like, Niji was the big shit in the industry. And then I think that EN branch came out and they just did not give a fuck. And they just, the management was shit. And a lot of their branches. I think the problem is Niji just doesn't give a shit outside of Japan. I think Riku is very nationalist. That's just my guess.
Yeah, because as Ihara said, Cover Gen 0 was 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think Niji's just I think Riku's very nationalist because he only seems to stick by the JP branch because all their other branches just completely cave. And a lot of it's management related. And you just don't give a fuck. And I think eventually he's going to have to get kicked out because they're a public company.
Right.
So when you're a public company, your CEO, like, you can't take it, crash and burn down with you. You get booted. Eventually, the investors say, get rid of him.
Eventually, yes. The question is, where is the eventually?
Yeah.
It's very, everything you're saying is right. It's just a matter of, okay, well, when is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard to say with a definitiveness, like, oh, today is the day, or like this specific incident is the one that's going to put it over the top. Well, that is legitimately hard to tell. But is it likely to happen? Yeah, it is very likely to happen at this point.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much inevitable because the problem is too, like, yeah, it's not him making all the decisions, but you look at, like, how did Yago prevent this from happening to Cover? Well, when things would start to become a problem, he nipped it in the bud. He didn't let it grow. Like, there was problems with Cover's management. Like, I believe a manager was stalking one of the talents, like Mel. Mel was being stalked by a manager. Gone. Get rid of that fucker. If is management being a problem, get rid of that management. Is management going above and beyond promote that management. There was management on the EN side that got promoted because of how well EN was doing.
Yeah.
Like they've talked about it. Like some of their original managers aren't their managers anymore because they went up. They moved on up.
And also
And
in how
that's
they
the
handled the Coco situation, right? They
Yeah.
you know, that could have been the situation that like swapped the places of Cover and Anycolor today, right? Like there's the dark timeline where Cover made the wrong move and like basically they're Nijisanji today, but they didn't. They stood by their talent and they said, you know what? We're gonna say fuck this entire country. We support Coco, and ultimately she did have to leave, but you know it was still more of a yeah. You know what? You may have gotten her out of this company, but we're coming completely out of your market. F you.
And
which is the right move. Which was the right move.
Doesn't Cover just prove how successful you can be if you tell China to go pound sand?
Yeah. Right.
Like you don't need to suck up to China.
No.
Just ask Yago. Like you can tell that entire country to F off and just pull out completely and become a worldwide phenomenon completely separated from China. And
the
it's
best part too about all of this is that in both the light and the dark timelines, Fishman's still buying $200 shirts, and I love him for it.
Right.
I'm on board for the $200 shirts. I think it's a flex. He should do more of it. I support him.
Yeah, like you said, like getting rid of Riku won't solve the problem. That's true, because whoever replaces Riku will then have to clean up Riku's mess, and a lot of Riku's mess is management.
We don't. Well, we don't even know. But that's I think that's a little speculative because we don't even know what the depth of the problem is, where it stems from, or for example, like you say management, but like we don't know whether some of the talent might be acting as management. Like there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of speculative stuff.
That's what I kind of mean. Like it's not just bad managers. It's like lack of managers in this respect. Bad managers here, corrupt managers, that kind of thing. Like it's not just there's a bad boy running something, but even just lack of managers is a problem with management.
Right.
Like Yago is done well, partially because he never let it get to that. You point to all the other good things he did, sticking by the talents, putting money back into the production, all that. But also it's keeping that management structure well-oiled so that you don't have to micromanage. Because I work in my day job, without saying what I do, I'm part of management in my day job. And I know that you want the people under you competent, skilled, and not needing you. Like the goal of running anything is to do as little work as possible, because the more work you have, if you're doing work, that means you're fixing something. And Yago's got that figured out. So Yago doesn't have to do a lot, which is why he can show up to a convention and take pictures with people as the CEO.
Yeah,
he can
Anime Expo was lit when he showed up.
Yeah, he can do that because he doesn't have to micromanage, because he has a well-oiled ship that can run without him physically being there at all times. That's
and
what
look
you
at
want.
people and look at people when they see like the managers themselves. Like HN is like supremely popular. Like you go up and down the list. Like people love not just the talent, but they love the staff too. Like that, you can tell how good a company is run because people love everyone involved with it.
Yeah. How many times can you think of a company where staff members behind the scenes have a fan base? Or simps? How many companies can you think of where the manager has simps? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's the well-oiled machine, and the problem was like you replace Riku, and then he would have to fix that mess of the management mess of like lack of managers, bad managers, incompetent managers,
possibly talent as managers.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And that's. But I feel like that's going to happen. Like. That's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. I don't think he's gonna right this ship at all. I don't think he has it in him. I think just his mentality isn't there. I think he's too nationalistic. Again, that's a thought. That's a theory on my end of him being nationalistic. But just seeing the way Nijisanji's been run over the last few years and how problems always seem to stem from divisions from other regions.
A lack of attention to anything but the Japanese branch.
Yeah. That's why, if not nationalistic, at least short-sighted and sort of tunnel vision is his problem. He's got to go. He just has to.
And see,
And-
the Japanese market is oversaturated with VTubers. Like, there's not much
correct.
room for them to grow. So, if Nijisanji wants to grow, they're going to have to focus on other countries and other regions. And that's what Cover's doing. Cover's like, hey, we have this massively untapped market. I mean, look who the number one most beloved VTuber in the West is. It's Galgura. Hololive EN.
Mhm.
Right? They see that and they're like, we could create even more Galguras, and we can do so in a way that we can have a studio in the United States where they can go and do 3D concerts and stuff, and we could produce it all in the United States for Americans and for Canadians.
And we can make more money that way because they're going to be more efficient producing it there, and we can make sure that these guys like it, but also keep it on brand and keep it true to our general mission of being kind of neutral and good for all and everything, and just win.
I feel like too another reason for that branch to get rid of game perms, because
That's true,
they need
too.
perms because it's a Japanese
true.
company. But if you operate out of the U.S., you have fair use law, so you don't need perms. So I feel like that's another big thing too, is
don't
just not
know
have
if-
to deal with the perms shit if you just have an American branch.
I don't know if that's going to completely get them out of it though, because it's complicated with streaming those games internationally, and I don't know whether they're going to want to try to fight that because they're operating as effectively employees of Hololive, which is a U.S. corporation. Which is a Japanese corporation. They're and to be very clear with branches, because each company means a different thing when they say branch. Like, for example, when Nijisanji says branch, all they mean is something on paper where they give it a name. Cover's building a building, but I don't think they're changing any of their corporate structure. So I don't think they're starting a separate C corporation in the United States, which means they probably are still subject to Japanese law because their basis is in Tokyo, Japan as a corporate headquarters, not in America. That's different than, for example, Idol, which is, I think in the process of actually having an entity in the US, right? There's a big difference. And that actually makes a legal distinctive difference. Versus okay, we're Nijisanji and we're just saying we have a Hololive Nijisanji Indonesia, but there's not a single office or piece of merch or anything else that we're housing in that country, right? At this point, so for example, Cover, when they build their LA studio, even if they keep their Japanese company, they are subject to certain laws in America. Like, for example, their employees they hire specifically for the LA location are subject to California labor law, for better or for worse, right? So they're going to have to deal with that. But IP, because the IP is attached to Cover Corporation, and that's in Japan, it's just much more of a complicated question. So yeah, I don't want to say that's a closed book for them on the perms.
Interesting. I guess it depends on what Cover's doing with that.
Yeah,
Like, is it just
and
building-
they ultimately may create a corporation in America, which would be interesting if they actually have a corporate structure in America. That would be very interesting. I do think one of the advantages that they can hide behind is, and I think that Hololive almost wants to do it as well too, is the advantageous of their own IP and their own defamation, right? So to protect themselves, if they're a Japanese corporation, they can always threaten to drag it into Japanese court. But if this is America, they've got a much more expensive proposition for both IP and for defamation.
Interesting.
That's another
it
good
becomes
thought.
a more expensive thing. Yeah, that's why a lot of corporations don't do it, because it is more expensive. It is more expensive. But I think ultimately, if they did do it, I think they would engender themselves better to a Western audience, because they'd say, hey, we're playing by all of the same rules as you guys, including fair use.
Mhm.
And by the way, I'm a big proponent of fair use. I'm not I'm just
me
trying
too.
to state what the law is here. I'm just saying this is why they might do it. They might say, hey, look, if we go over there, we're going to have to obey by their fair use laws. And we don't want other people going out there and creating a bunch of stuff without our permission. Now, I will say what they're going to do with the kind of Hollow Indie and some of the other Hollow gaming stuff they're doing, where they're doing a revenue share for their derivative works, that is fucking brilliant.
Yes,
So
it is.
unlike all
Yes.
of these other IPs, all of them, Western and Eastern, that just are such Nazis shutting down every single derivative fan work. You talk about
Nintendo.
40K with the Astartes project, Nintendo with fucking everything, right? What they've said is, hey, no, we're going to allow you to develop, we're going to help you, and we're going to just take a share of the revenue. How fucking brilliant is that?
Yeah, that is absolutely brilliant. Because it's
That's
people
fair.
making licensed stuff for you on their own.
And it's fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. That is not unfair at all. It's, oh, well, they created it, they get all the money. No, it's still their IP, right? They still own the most valuable part, which is the IP, but they're now willing to give you a slice of that. Thank you very much. Definitely take that deal and go with it. I think it's going to be great.
Like the smartest fucking thing. It seems like everyone wins on every side of it. I don't understand why this isn't like the standard. Because you're getting like someone is willing to make like a game of your IP on their own. And all you got to do is like, okay, well, you can sell it and make money. We'll just take a cut, and boom, you now have a free licensed game. You didn't pay anybody to make this. You didn't make a contract. Like you didn't reach out to some company. Can you make us a game? No, some guy just say, I like your thing so much and made a game. It feels like as long as the game isn't like your IP having sex or something, like if it's just a regular good game, it just seems like the most obvious thing in the world to do what Cover's doing.
Yep.
Again, this is still a very young and robust industry that has a lot to learn. And I think once it matures a little bit more and we get a like an actual like grip on everything, that kind of stuff will be like last year's conversation. And then we'll be looking at like, so what are they going to do about the HoloLive cinematic universe? and then we'll be stuck in a perpetual loop of consumerism, the good kind.
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, I can't suck Yago's cock enough. I can't like. I feel like it is. I stand in awe of the amount of good decisions one man has made. You know, Yago reminds me of Gabe Newell.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The fact that this man just keeps making the right call so often, and like, not only is he made his company this massive titan, but he has in effect saved an entire industry. Like, without Gabe and Steam like being as pro-consumer as they are, can you imagine how bad PC gaming would be?
Well, everybody would have gotten screwed on the Helldivers 2 stuff because they wouldn't have issued refunds for the countries where the game is no longer sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucked.
It really is astounding how much can be done when just one dude running a major company just keeps making the right call. Like over and over again, just keeps making the right call. And Yago, Gabe, they really are just testaments to that. Like, thank fucking God for these guys. I am now scared because they're mortal, which means eventually they gotta die. They can't do this forever. And when someone else is doing it, what then? I don't want anyone else doing it. I want them to be the one that does it forever. And they can't. And that's spooky. That's spooky.
Well, that's part of the, you got to train well, you got to train the next people and make sure that they have the same values and principles that you do, because those values and principles are important. They're not, artifacts. They're very, very important to value the exact same things that you do in terms of fundamental principles, particularly business principles, right? You've got to have those business principles aligned.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I hope their good decision-making continues on into their choice of successor.
Yeah.
Because, like, if the wrong person gets a hold of Steam or Cover Corp in the future, we're all fucked. It's so much is fucked. Because, like, their decision-making has propped up, like, an industry. Like, not just a company, but an industry. Like, VTubing is going to take a hit if Cover ever, like, goes the Disney route. If Cover becomes Disney, like, VTubing is fun. Look at gaming itself. Like, look at console gaming, I should say. Like, it's pretty much just Nintendo in its own sphere, like in its own little isolated island, and then everything on fire.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we're reaching the end of the era of console exclusive games minus Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really is like, it was kind of inevitable, right? Because the console exclusive made sense back in the 90s when consoles had different specs because different companies were evolving the technology in different directions. Like, different companies thought this was important or that was important.
And it was kind of choosing which direction things would go. It's like Betamax back in the day, right? Like, it's like, are we going to go this way or not? Or like vacuum tubes, you know? Are we going to go down the Fallout version? Or are we going to go out like the current timeline, right?
Yeah, like you compare the SNES and the Genesis. Totally different specs, totally different sound. The sound quality of the systems was vastly different. And you were going for what did you like better. Now, what the fuck is the difference between like the new Xbox and the new PlayStation?
Hey, do you guys remember HD DVD? Of course we don't.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, well, Microsoft kind of remembers. That's why they sold their little player for the 360 because it couldn't play it natively.
Like, there was a reason for something to be a Genesis exclusive or an SNES exclusive. Like, this game worked with this technology or this chip or whatever. There's zero reason outside of just calculated business bullshit for anything to be exclusive to the Xbox or PlayStation. They're the same box. It's just an inferior PC. There's nothing different about their specs. Nothing meaningfully different about their specs at all. There's no reason to even have a console anymore. And yeah, like, okay, PC, Master Race, whatever. Like, the whole reason I even switched to PC was like, what's the point of this? I can have a better machine.
You can get a gaming controller. Like, I mean, back in the day, it was like, all right, I want a controller. And like the technology wasn't there yet, right? For controllers, like way back in the day for PC.
Yeah.
But like now, that's not even a consideration. It's like, oh yeah, that's not a problem.
And now with Steam Deck, you could bring your PC gaming on the go. So like, at this point, there's just no reason anymore for these consoles. Nintendo has managed to keep themselves alive by A, their first party stuff, and B, that the fact their consoles are different. You can call it gimmicky or whatever, but those gimmicks are the reason Nintendo has given reason for their own existence at this point. They're validated the existence of their consoles with stuff like the Switch and the Joy-Cons and the gyroscoping. And you can pop it out of the console and take it on the go, or pop it back into the deck and now it's on the TV. Like that, they started that. They invented that. And they'll probably do something crazy and weird for the Switch too, and that will be the reason you buy a Nintendo console. And that is the entire reason consoles were a thing in the back of the day. It was like, you can only do this with Nintendo. You can only do this with Sega. And now you can do the same shit on all these consoles, and then Nintendo does their own crazy thing that could never be on PC because, this console, the Nintendo console, has two screens. And it's like, this screen is a touch screen. And yet, so we have all this functionality with that, and you need that console. You require that console to play the game with that functionality. It validates the existence of the console. And I think that's another thing I think is kind of contributing to the crash and the rise of PC gaming and these consoles just collapsing. Like, why? Why would you buy? The meme of the PlayStation having no games. Because
it's not a meme. That's real.
Yeah, it's reality.
It's the thing, because that game can also be, there's no reason for it to need the PlayStation, other than signing a contract, which Square learned the hard way is stupid.
Yeah, Square Enix has announced that they're no longer going to do console exclusives because they lost their ass on the Final Fantasy games.
Final Fantasy,
yeah. And also that people got burned by Remake. Haha. Fuck you. I'm a little razor fist moment. Fuck you. I was right. Fuck you. I was right.
Curse you, Time Jannies. Time Jannies.
Yeah,
win.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But like, that's the thing. Like, there's no reason for a console exclusive anymore. Like, the fact that they can even do that and say, we're not going to do console exclusive. Like, again, think back in the console war era versus now. Console exclusives it's just anti-consumer business practices at this point.
Yep.
There's no reason
I don't want to freak you guys out, but I'm getting a little eepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably should wrap it up.
Yeah. I want to ask everybody, because we've got over 360 people here, which is incredible.
Nice.
Incredible. I want everybody to go subscribe to the stream if you like what we're doing, and leave a like as well, because it boosts the boomers in the algorithm. You know, here my shill statement here. I
can't do my own shill statements. I suck at it.
I don't do them often, but when I do, I make them count. We got some super chats here I do need to catch up on here. Prefa for 5 says, why not go further? Make the statue made with a certain material for consumption. Is he saying to deep fry it, the Assassin's Creed statue, like you've seen the pictures of the Gundams that were battered and fried?
Oh god.
Listen, you can eat anything if you fry it up. Damn near. This is very true.
Chaos Smash 64 for 2 says, too bad, Necro, you make me roll on the floor.
What?
Not laughing, just when he hears your voice, he has a seizure.
It's the roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that I understand. Okay, I understand now.
Chaos Smash 64 for $2 says, Marvel and Capcom are at full fault on that move. Yeah, for the terrible Infinity Stones eggs.
Yeah. Although, in terms of just the game, I would 100% put the blame on Disney and Marvel, because on Capcom's end, the game, like I said, gameplay, best in the series. Maximilian is feebly trying to save this game for that reason. Like, it's not going to happen, dude, but he's trying to, like, all these mods and shit to try to get people to play MVCI again. And that's why, because, you know, problems aside, Capcom nailed it game-wise, and that's the tragedy. That's the big, like, if it was just like Guilty Gear Strive, like, fuck that game, throw it in the trash. Who gives a fuck about Strive? Fuck, let Strive die. But the fact that MVCI is like, no, like, you can't perfect a legendary fighting game franchise like that, and then fuck everything else around it up, and then just kill the franchise. It hurts my fucking soul, man. It hurts my soul.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that they took something that could have been really good, and just let it f up.
Yeah. R.I.P. My hand is on my chest right now. I'm looking down.
I like the Spike Man for $10 says, speaking of, when will Hollow Cure get an update?
Never. Keep waiting. You know, it's ready when it's ready. Who said that? Some guy.
It'll be done when it's done.
Yeah, that guy.
Linkara, yeah.
Just keep waiting for it. You'll get it.
All right. That is all the super chats that we have thus far. I think this is probably a good point to wrap up, because I do need to go to bed. I do have to work in the morning tomorrow. Yeah, I had one more topic that I was going to cover, but you know what? I don't. In the vein of, you know, how cover needs to get licenses from companies, but I think that person is kind of clamoring for attention. I wasn't even going to mention his name anyway, but I think that he issued a statement, and I'll let Legal Mindset cover it, because it's more kind of a legal issue anyway. And I'll send you the link to what he's saying versus what he actually said on stream. But oh
no,
yeah, the TLDR is that he was friends with Shizzy and defending Shizzy, and he basically said that he was going to use his contacts at Capcom to try to heavily implied that he was going to try to get Amelia Watson in trouble for a stream she did many years ago on her past life or whatever, and basically bragged about, like, because he's this big streamer back in the day, he can do all this stuff, and then lied about it on Twitter and said, oh well, no, I was just saying that I could use my contacts to get in touch to talk with him, make sure I wasn't going to get sued.
Oh god.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun with that one.
Yeah,
That'll be fun. Yeah, send it over to me.
Yeah, I'll send that to you after the stream here. Oh, we got one that came in real quick here. Sir Tortillas for $2 says, Iko Fukuda cover CTO is a chill dude. Oh, well, there you go.
I can believe it.
Cover staff is just solid.
Yeah, he's dumbass is 39 IQ. Negative 39 IQ.
Negative.
Okay. Well, I want to
Thanks
thank
for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I think
thanks
for
for
all
coming
of
on,
you,
Necro.
all of you and you. It's great. I finally get to be in the stream with the guy, and hopefully we'll bring back some good news for you, Mr. Legal Mindset.
I am super excited to hear about the reports from Offkai, you know, afterwards, kind of the AAR, and
You know, if there's any iPads going around, you know, you can always hit me up, and maybe there's a guest appearance at some point. Who knows?
Yeah, there may be some off collaborations at Offkai possibly.
Oh.
Ew.
I'm looking for a stream to raid. Here we go. I know. I'll send everybody over to Kiki. Love Kiki. Kiki's so great.
Great.
She's so great. Nice
I also
little.
played Chrono Trigger, which is based.
Yes, which was super based. Kiki's actually going to be at Offkai Expo. She's going to be with the little thing, the
telepresence robot.
Yeah.
She's going to be there with Oshi Live.
Yep, that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Well, if you like this, like and subscribe to the channel. We try to do these every other week. We won't have one the week of Offkai because obviously we'll be at Offkai Expo, but we will try to get one as soon as possible after Offkai. Chaos Smash 64 for 2 says Necro on LM's stream someday.
Maybe one day when he wants some deep lore on the very special people. I'll say that.
Oh no. We'll talk.
Maybe if Darkside Phil gets in trouble.
Oh God! Okay, yeah,
Oh,
I don't want to damage him any more than I've already been damaged. This is Gundam's fault.
That is a good personal blame. That's a good personal blame.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm kind of floored. I really don't even know what to say. I'm thankful for all of the support from all of you guys. You know, when I brought up the subject of Silentaski to Legal Mindset, it was because I love VTubing and I want VTubing to continue to be a great place where people can just express positivity and just love for their Oshi, for the talent, and for the companies that are doing it right. And I wanted to make sure that negative forces didn't insert themselves into the industry and rot it from within. And so like I'm so glad that you know, you guys have really you've really shown me a lot of support in that endeavor, and I just want to thank you guys. Like I'm really not good at these sorts of speeches. It's kind of comes out kind of gay. I know.
Hell yeah! Who cares, man? Embrace it. Embrace that's what VTube is all about, man. It's the good vibes.
Yeah, and that's
just embrace the good vibes.
Yeah, and I feel the good vibes from all of you, and I know that you know you guys support great people like Rima, like Legal Mindset, like Junie, tons of False, Nosagi, Parrot. You know, people that are they're doing this, they're having fun at the same time, but they're pushing important stuff out there. You know, people like Kirsche. People like Kirsche who need your support, or Sayu. Sayu needs your support.
Lulu needs your support.
Yeah, Lulu.
Nexus Love.
Yeah, like I love to see the fans of VTubers come together and just make everything good, and push out all of the people that want to like screw things up.
Hey, look who showed up in chat.
Yeah, there's Lulu right there. He said, "LOL, no way."
There's much love to my fellow Southerner, by the way.
We love the South sometimes,
Is that
except
the-
for these fucking cicadas, man.
I
I'm
know.
over it.
I'm so over the cicada stuff too. It's like, oh god, here we go. Having Higurashi flashbacks.
Oh my god, I was so freaking out when I heard about the cicadas. Thank God they're like, I missed them. I'm semi-docs. I'm not in cicada territory. God, because I dealt with a cicada outbreak before, and it was hell, and I hate those little bastards with every fiber of my being. And I heard, like, we're going to have the most cicadas in history. Like, fuck you.
Oh, no.
And
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
oh,
bad.
thank God I missed them. Oh, God, I was about ready to, like, go outside with a flamethrower and just ruin the ecosystem. Oh, God. I hate those bastards.
All right, guys, I think that does it for us. I'm going to go send you guys on over to Kiki, our favorite little bun. She is playing Klonoa right now, another blast from the past.
Oh, yeah.
I want you guys to go over there and give her your love, subscribe to her, leave a like on her stream, and if you're going to be at Offkai, stop by and say hi. You'll see her on the little robot going around. All right. Well, that's
And I'm going to send you guys, my people, to Icho, who's going to also be at Offkai with her other people. It's great. They're going to be doing meet and greets.
I can't send anybody anywhere. I'm not streaming. So go read my comic at cloudscratcher.com and go check out my artwork at BAIER Works on Twitter. I just posted a preview of Cloud Scratcher. So you get a little taste, see if you like it. Buy my book. Buy my fucking book. I'm not asking, I'm telling. Buy my book.
And you're probably already a fan of our special guest, but I'm gonna shill his YouTube anyway. YouTube.com/legalmindset. He does a stream usually either 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., barring a couple of minutes here and there.
Yes. Booming it one way or another, which is why I'm happy to be on the Anime Boomers podcast here. But no, I do plan on streaming tomorrow, and the next day there's a lot of stuff. I was catching up. I think I'm caught up, and now there's obviously new news breaking that needs to be covered. So we're going to be moving on and moving with it. I am going to do at some point a members stream very soon. If it's I want to. There's a lot of news to cover tomorrow, so if I end up doing a member stream tomorrow, it may be like the regular streams in the PM and the members is in the AM. That may end up being what happens. But we're gonna get a lot of that done. I'm doing some traveling next week, so next week there won't be as much. So I'm trying to do as much as I can up on through about Sunday, Monday Eastern time. So by Monday Eastern time, I should have a good amount of streams up. So. Yeah, just make sure you stay tuned to my channel. Also, I have a second channel, Go East Gentlemen, for those that might be interested in Asia. So check that out. I've got some new events I just announced on that for Seoul and for Bangkok. And yeah, hope to see you guys around any one of my channels.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we will see you guys at Offkai Expo, probably on the GATORTIME channel and NECRO 13 channel. So keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to meet the legendary Mint Fantome. Tell her, hey, you're pretty good. Looking forward to that. And Lulu's going to be there, too. Look forward to seeing you, too, Lulu. All right. Well, that's
Hell
it.
Yeah.
That's it for us. Until next
All right,
time.
bye, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
See ya.
It had a Kiki.